people who don't have a place to stay. It's sad that these things happen in the world that you've made, but I know for sure that there is hope. So now I will pray. Let there be peace and harmony in this world. Let there be love and joy for every boy and girl. Let your glory fall upon the earth, bring healing to us all. Oh Jesus, this I pray. Oh Jesus, this I pray. Oh Jesus, this I pray today. I saw a sick old lady lying on a bed. She looked so weak and helpless that she had to be fed. I heard my neighbor crying when her daddy banged the door. Another broken heart, I wonder, are there more? It's sad that these things happen in the world that you've made, but I know for sure that there is hope. So now I will pray. Let there be peace and harmony in this world. Let there be love and joy for every boy and girl. Let your glory fall upon the earth, bring healing to us all. Oh Jesus, this I pray. Oh Jesus, this I pray. Oh Jesus, this I pray today.
After praising and glorifying God, let us now honor our country. Please put your right hand against your chest and let us all sing the Philippine National Anthem.
Bayang magigiw, perlas ng silanganan, alab ng puso, sa dibdib mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, duyan ka ng magiting, sa manlulupig, di ka pasisiil. Sa dagat at bundok, sa simoy at sa langit mong tugma, may dilag ang tula at awit na paglayang minamahal. Ang kislap ng watawat mo'y tagumpay na nagniningning, ang bituin at araw na kailan pa may di magdidilim. Lupa ng araw ng luwalhati, pagsinta ko'y langit sa piling mo. Aming ligaya ng at may mga api, ang kailan dahil sa'yo.
So thank you very much. I want to take a moment to recognize and thank all the participants and guests for joining us today and those who helped make today's event possible. At this point, I want to introduce to you the president of St. Anthony College of Technology to formally open today's program. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Mr. Antonio Esia.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, sir.
In welcoming you to our conference today, I would like to do two things. First, I'd like to thank Doctors Crisostomo, Kiambao, Abulencia, and Canlas for agreeing to be our speakers today. Secondly, I would like to mention to you my assessment of what is needed in order to better respond to the new normal. I believe that education in the Philippines today requires, especially in basic education, a reassessment of the way we deliver the education we do. First, the government has to understand that this situation will continue for some time and that the kind of teachers we need are not really the same teachers we used to have at various levels. For me, the most important thing is for educators today in basic education to learn to become coaches. And I mean that in both the philosophical and personal way. Our students today should not be required to spend too much time online. On the other hand, we have the responsibility to teach them how to learn on their own, even if they're still in basic education. This challenge can be better addressed if we learn as teachers to be coaches. Your school, the SACT STM education system, has created a Facebook page where you can learn to be coaches. This is called intro.spec, intro.spec. Let me repeat that. We have a site that you can visit called intro.spec, and maybe sometime today, Mr. Serrano can show you the link or the face of this site. I would like all of you to consider visiting that site and learn how to be coaches. For our own regents who are members of this, who are attending this meeting, Regent Bert Villanueva and Regent Violeta Sibal, I hope they will introduce this better to all those who are our students as well as others participating in our conference today. The new normal requires a new teacher, not so much technologically advanced or even technologically prepared, but one who will change themselves and address the issue of this pandemic as an opportunity to be a better teacher, to be a coach, to live their faith life, to show by example that teachers can be the true exemplars and leaders that we all hope they become when they go to our school to study, especially when they go for their graduate degree. Finally, I would like to announce to everyone that we agreed to offer an EDD beginning this school year. After this conference, a proper announcement will be made in the graduate school and St. Anthony social media sites. For those who are interested to take their doctorate, please take note of that. This is in partnership with a level 4 accredited school. Thank you very much for joining us. And again, welcome.
Thank you very much, sir, for that wonderful message and for sharing your gift of time and presence with us today. The present COVID 19 pandemic has brought extraordinary challenges and has affected the educational sectors, and no one knows when it will end. Every country is presently implementing plans and procedures on how to contain the virus, and the infections are still continually rising. In the educational context, to sustain and provide quality education, Despite lockdowns and community quarantines, the new normal should be taken into consideration in the planning and implementation of the new normal education policy. This webinar presents various talks that challenge all of us in the education sector to implement something different than what we traditionally do so we can adapt to the new normal, eventually transforming us to become a new generation of educators who, well, blow up the box. And with that, I segue to our session proper and move straight to our first talk. Allow me to introduce our first resource speaker for today. She finished her Doctor of Philosophy, major in literature at the University of Santo Tomas in Manila. And she is currently the director of the Office for International Partnerships and Programs, the concurrent director for the Office of or for the Alumni Affairs, the program chair, MAED in English program, and the language head, the College of Education of Don Honorio Ventura State University. For today's webinar, she will present her talk on sustainability amid diversity, the new teacher in the new normal. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. Mildred M. Crisostomo.
Thank you very much, Sir Errol. Of course, good morning to our President, Mr. Anthony Yap. Good morning to our Vice President for Academic Affairs, Ma'am Violeta Ceibal. Good morning to the Dean of the Graduate School, Ma'am Mary Ann Villena. And of course, to a very good friend, Dr. Nairo Olalia. Good morning to my co-speakers in today's webinar. Good morning to our equally competent faculty, graduate school faculty at St. Anthony College of Technology. And good morning to our dear students in the graduate school at SAC. As a rejoinder to what our president has said a while ago, indeed, nowadays teachers are no longer considered as facilitators of learning. They are instructional coaches. And when we say that teachers are expected to be instructional coaches, that means they got the potentials, they got the capacities to what? To develop the full potentials of our students so that these students will become champions in their respective fields once they finish their education. Now, I would like to start my presentation by sharing with everyone a very good quotation coming from Pinky Liazo, and I quote, "Please let us not forget that when everyone is sitting, we need to stand up. When everyone is standing up, we need to stand out. When everyone is standing out, we need to be outstanding. And when everyone is outstanding, we need to be the standard." This is the mantra that every teacher needs to embrace, needs to fulfill, so that all these teachers would definitely keep going and would still keep believing that they are the right individuals to do the job in making difference in the lives of their students. I entitled my presentation as Sustainability Amid Adversity, the new teacher in the new normal. Indeed, the new normal requires the new us, the better versions of ourselves. I know that you are really excited to know something about this presentation, so allow me then to share this one with all of you. Can you see my presentation now, Sir Errol?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Thank you very much. Again, the title is Sustainability Amid Adversity, the new teacher in the new normal. Indeed, it is sustainability only that can make us continue, that can make us believe in everything that we can do, despite the situation where we are in at the moment. All right. As part of my introduction is disruption pandemic, incessant work demands, mental and emotional challenges, pressure, stress, mockery, public humiliation, anxiety, depression. Do all these words ring a bell? Source of inspiration, encourager, influencer, coach, motivator, model, visionary, communicator, adapter, collaborator. Do all these words appease your feelings and nourish your souls? The question is, where would you focus your eyes on? The first set of words or the second? Which would you entertain, the former or the latter set of words? Remember, my dear participants who are teachers, I know, your choice will determine your mindset, your actions, and your fate starting today. If you choose the fourth set of words, you need to have a paradigm shift. That is where the idea of producing the new teacher in you creeps in. We need to have a paradigm shift. If you are focused more on disruption, if you focus more on pandemic, on the incessant work demands, on your mental and emotional challenges, on pressure, on stress, on mockery, on public humiliation, on anxiety and depression, we need to have a paradigm shift. We need to have a change of mindset. Because if we do not do this one, then it will affect everything that we do as we perform our functions as instructional coaches of our students. If you go for the second set of words, you need to sustain and continue doing what could make you better each day and hopefully the best soon. Let us choose, therefore, the second set of words. Each day, we are given the opportunity to choose. To choose from the things that we can do for the whole day so we could make it successful or unsuccessful. We are definitely the makers of our faith. We are definitely the makers of our success. We cannot even blame the people around us why all these things are happening to us, because we are the ones responsible in everything that we do. And this starts from the kind of mindset that we have. Let's revisit now the 8 characteristics of great teachers. I know 21st century teachers probably have a different set of characteristics, but I want to start with this one. I want to stick with this one because I consider this perennial, perpetual characteristics of great teachers. Number 1, they demonstrate confidence and positivity. Is your positivity still with you despite the situation? Are you still confident to perform your functions despite apparent humiliation or apparent mockery? Do you still live what you teach? Because great teachers live what they teach. We cannot separate what we say from what we do. Let us remember that at all times, we are regarded to be the models of our students. So if what we say to them is not what they see in us, then as if we are telling our students, do not believe what I say. Do not even follow what you see in me. Number 3, they give importance to every student, thus never gets tired of learning. Indeed, for as long as we live, we can learn. Only individuals who think that they are full, F-U-L-L, full of knowledge that are the ones who would not go for learning. But learning can happen anytime, anywhere. So even though we are already teachers, let us not forget that the world is offering itself to us. And we have to explore the world. We have to unveil its mystery so that we will become better individuals, if not best, later on. Learning is not only intended for our students. Learning is intended for all of us. Number 4, teachers are people. They are not robots. Others are saying that teachers are heroes, but you know what? The meaning of hero nowadays is very relative. So it's safer to say robots. Teachers are not people. I mean, they are people. They are not robots. What do you mean by that one? We get hurt. I know that. We get disappointed. That's a reality. I know that. But of course, we should not settle ourselves with our disappointments. We should not forever be hurting, because we need to do something about it. We need to redeem ourselves from that kind of feeling that probably is dragging us down, so that we would forget about our vision for our students, so that we would forget about our commitment to our students. Let us not consider ourselves as robots, because that is not true. We are human beings with emotions. It's okay to get hurt, but we should not settle ourselves with the hurt that we have. Number 5, they can accept and challenge change. Our job is not only to accept change. I know that change is the only permanent thing here on earth. Changes happen every second, every second. It's not only every day. Changes happen every second. And the job of a great teacher is to accept that one. But our job does not stop there. After accepting it, we need to challenge the change. Because the change, when we feel like it makes us uncomfortable, should not forever make us uncomfortable. We should make that change uncomfortable in front of us. So we need to challenge it. Number 6 is great teachers model risk taking. We just have to take the first step. When our students see in us that we are willing to bet on them, that we are willing to take the first step, then they would not also be afraid to follow us. Risks will always be there. Life would end if there are no risks to face. So let us anticipate this. Let us expect that each day, if change is happening, risk could also happen. I tell you, probably even every second. So our job is to show to our students that we are not afraid to take risk. The new pandemic tells us that we need to take risks. We do not know what awaits us. We do not know what would happen the next day. We don't even know what education would become after this month, after this year. By next year, we do not know that one. But we trust, we keep believing that if we take risk, then we won't have any regret later on. Number 7 is great teachers focus on what's important. Great teachers focus on what's important. We get disappointed, we get hurt. But are these things the ones really important or most important at that? If not, wag nating tambayan. Wag nating tambayan ang disappointment. Wag natin tambayan ang pananakit ng loob natin. Why? Because what is more important nowadays is to keep going, is to keep believing, is to keep pursuing our intention. Is to keep pursuing our vision for ourselves, for the department that we decided to join, and of course, for the beneficiaries of what we can give to them. These are our students. We focus on them. We focus on what is good. We focus on what is beautiful, and not focus on things that might discourage us. And number 8 is great teachers can blow up the box. We're not expected to fill in the box only. We're not even expected to just accept the box. What is expected is that we blow up the box. In the first place, there should never be any box. As a teacher, we're not supposed to place ourselves inside the box. Teaching is not a job of comfort. So do not expect that you need to be very comfortable each day. That is not what education promised us. That is not what teaching promised us. What teaching promised us is there would be challenges. But despite the challenges, indeed, we should be able to do something about it. So do not think about the box. Remove that box. There should never be any box in the field of education. We should be able to blow it up. How? of course, by pushing ourselves to our capacity, maximum capacity at that, and by staying to be positive over things, by staying to be engaged, and committed at that. I don't want to sound very ideal, but the new normal requires in us that we need to be like this. Now, despite the situation where we are in, there is pandemic, there is disruption, no? There are misunderstandings all over. Sometimes the misunderstanding even creeps in among colleagues in the field. Sometimes between bosses and the teachers, no? Sometimes between teachers and parents. Sometimes between parents and students, or teachers and students. But the thing there is, can we do something about it? Of course, we can do something about it. Now, the situation where we are in at present would not, should not, cannot, and did not change our characteristics as teachers. Nabago ba yon? Nabago ba yung 8 just because of pandemic? Nabago ba yung commitment mo towards the profession? Nabago ba yung capacity mo to take risks? Nabago ba yung character mo that you are a model in front of your students? Nabago ba yung confidence mo as a teacher? Is your positivity still there? Or it changed already because of the situation where you are in at present? Remember this, the 8 characteristics of a great teacher did not change despite the situation. And please do not change them, and do not allow yourselves to change these characteristics, because these are good characteristics that we need to sustain. So do not think that you are helpless, that we teachers are helpless and do not have the control over the circumstances at hand, because that is not true. The truth is, we are the most thriving and overcoming species here on earth. When other professions quit, teachers stay. When other professions stop believing in themselves, teachers are still oozing with confidence. When other professions see what is negative, teachers see what is positive. We are the most thriving and overcoming species here on earth. So let us put these things into our mind, because what we place in between our ears, what we place in our mind, is what sets our actions later on. As teachers, we are expected to sustain everything that is good. I did not talk about the pandemic anymore. Each day we are provided sufficient information about this one. I know very well that all of us listening right now are fully aware of what this pandemic is all about. So I will focus more on what we can do in the midst of this, or amid this one. Teachers, we need to sustain everything that is good, things that can keep us going, thoughts that won't blur our drive and passion, feelings that would nourish our hearts and souls towards uncompromised performance of our functions as life changers and dream makers of and for our students. These visions, these intentions of us as teachers never change. We remain as the life changers. We remain as the dream makers of and for our students. Thus, we need to maintain and sustain all these things, from thoughts to actions, even to the kind of feelings that we should nourish, that we should keep in our hearts, because this will lead us to uncompromised performance of our functions. Hindi naman tayo nagbago bilang guro. Hindi nagbago ang inaasahan sa atin bilang guro. Nagbago lang siguro paminsan-minsan yung pananaw natin. But please, let us go back to the kind of teacher we used to be. Because the more that this committed teacher is needed by the department, is needed by every student that is entrusted upon us. To sustain what is good is to apply macrocosmic and microcosmic approaches where the parts reflect the whole or vice versa. Most of the time, people are overwhelmed by looking at the bigger picture only that can cause positive change in the department at once or right away. We can never change the department all at once. So do not dream of changing the department right away. We cannot do that alone. We cannot do that alone. And do not be overwhelmed by looking at the bigger picture always, that you should be able to make a difference right away, that you should transform the department right away, that you should transform your school right away. That's not how things work. That's not how things work. That is macrocosmic, looking at the bigger picture. But let us not forget that there is also such thing as microcosmic approach. And what is the meaning of that? We need also to make time looking at things, no matter how small. Things that we can do and contribute towards the realization of the bigger picture. Let us not feel so helpless that as if we cannot do anything about the situation. We have to celebrate our accomplishment, our achievement as plain teachers or as ordinary teachers, no matter how small, because that will give you the inspiration to do more, to do better. So that is microcosmic approach. Microcosmic, do not be pressured just because of the demands of the department. Do not be pressured because of the demands of the bosses. First of all, we need to pressure ourselves. We need to tell ourselves that we need to do still just the same. We need to do what is expected of us. What is expected of us? If during the face-to-face situations, if in the past you had the pep and the zest to give your best every time you face your students, even at present times you can still do it. If in the past during the face-to-face setup you were a source of inspiration to your colleagues, you can still be that source of inspiration. If in the past you were really able to extend a hand to your bosses, to your administrators, even at present times, you can also do that one. Our president is correct. You need not be a techie person, a technological savvy person, just so you would feel that you can contribute a lot in the department. No. Doing your job silently, doing your function silently, no matter how small, can definitely contribute towards the realization of the bigger picture. And that is gradually making difference in the department. We cannot do all these alone. I told you, we need to collaborate with our colleagues, partner with our parents and the community, believe in our immediate superiors. It won't give you any good effect. It won't cause any good effect in you if you think that your immediate superiors are not capable to do their functions. We got no choice but to believe in them. They are there not out of accident. They are there because they are the right persons to be there. Our job, therefore, is to believe in the capacity of our immediate superiors. If you think you are better than your immediate superiors, that will break harmony and unity in the organization. And if these things happen in the organization, I tell you, you will not be able to accomplish whatever it is that you set, even on a daily basis. Leadership and alliances can make sustainability work, along with being sensitive to the changing needs of time and space. We cannot be the same teachers that we used to be in the past. We need to adapt to the changing needs of time and space. If in the past we were patient, the need of the time and space at the moment is for us to be more patient. If in the past we were competent, the need of the time and space right now is for us to be more competent. If in the past we were committed, the need nowadays is for us to be more committed. We cannot be complacent. We need people or one another to understand what social responsibility and commitment is all about. We do our part, and then we give others the chance to do theirs. That is what social responsibility is all about. That is what commitment is all about. Please, let us not allow the situation to affect our commitment. Let us not allow the situation to make us tired, fed up, and almost give up each day. Because if we do that one, if that would be our feeling, we will not be able to sustain. We will not be able to thrive. We will not be able to overcome the situation we are facing at the moment. The challenge in front of us is not just the challenge of teachers. So do not place the burden on your shoulders alone. It is the challenge of humanity. It is everyone's call. Teachers are so anxious, no? They're so pressured, they're so stressed, and others are depressed because they are putting all responsibilities on their shoulders. Why would you have to do that when the challenge is not only for you? I told you the challenge is that of humanity. It's intended for everyone. So do not make yourself preoccupied with the ringing alone. With the ringing alone. Let others pick up the call too and do their part later on. We can only do that much. But what is more important is that we are willing to do that. To do that. And we allow others also, our colleagues, our bosses, our parents, and even our students to do their part. Rest if you must, but please never give up. Remember, we are people. Teachers are people. We are not robots. We get tired. It's fine to get tired. When we are tired, we need to rest. We need to rest our body. But please, never give up. Once you have rested, once you have the pep and the zest again, once you have the vigor again, once you have the strength again, stand up and continue doing what is dear to your heart, and that is teaching. Be disappointed for a while. It's not a sin to be disappointed. Everybody gets disappointed. It's okay to be disappointed for a while. But please, please make sure that you're able to convert your disappointment into meaningful appointment. I repeat, be disappointed for a while, but make sure that you're able to convert your disappointment into meaningful appointment. Try to see good in every situation. What caused your disappointment? Is there anything that you can do about it? Can you improve the situation? If you can, then convert these disappointment into meaningful appointment. Talk to the right people. Talking to the wrong people won't settle your disappointment. Talking to the right people would do it for you. You can settle your disappointment with the right people. Be burdened at times, but make sure that such burden will make you bolder after. Again, be burdened at times, but make sure that such burden will make you bolder after. Stronger version of yourself, braver version of yourself, better version of yourself. Somebody who is not afraid in the face of challenge. Somebody who is not afraid in the face of risk. Ask if you need to. Ask if you need to. But please, never confront nor criticize. Ask if you need to. Our bosses are not always right. No one is. No one is. Teachers are not always right. Administrators are not always right. It's fine to ask. It's fine to clarify things with them. But please, never confront nor criticize. Lay your cards at hand, but never put the person in public humiliation, or just so you could degrade and you could point your accusing finger to that person and tell the whole world that is at fault. Above all, let us trust the one who could sustain and help us get through all these triumphantly, because we are not just teachers, we are teachers. I repeat, above all, let us trust the one who could sustain and help us get through all these triumphantly, because we are not just teachers, we are teachers. The present situation does not require in us to do the game blaming or the blaming game thing. The blaming game thing. Let us stop pointing our accusing fingers to the module developers. Let us stop pointing our accusing fingers to our curriculum heads or chiefs. Let us stop pointing our accusing fingers to our principals, to our supervisors, to our assistant superintendents, to our superintendents. Let us stop pointing our accusing finger to our regional director or to the secretary of the Department of Education, because this is the concern of each of us. It's our concern. And to be able to resolve everything is to get your share and do something about it. Is to do your share, is to give your best, is to believe that indeed everything is under control. Let me ask you the same question again. The 8 characteristics of a great teacher. Are these characteristics still with you now? Are you still the great teacher described by these 8 characteristics? Do you still consider yourselves as the teachers called by the profession? If your answer is yes, then you need to sustain. You need to sustain that one. If your answer is yes, then you need to see again the purpose why you are in the profession. If your answer is yes, then you need to keep the passion. If your answer is yes, then you need to forget about yourself and think about what matters most. Forgetting oneself doesn't mean depriving oneself of what is intended. Of course, that is not true. But forgetting oneself means being selfless. Being selfless. Because our profession requires us to be like that. Is it too much, for example, if you have to bring things home, continue doing and accomplishing all of these, and after that one, or even before completing them, tons of work are already in front of you? Is that too much? The profession tells us that there would be times that we would be required to do all this. We need to sustain. We need to sustain. Adversity will always be there. Adversity will always be there. When the situation is positive, that does not mean there is no problem. When the situation is good, that does not mean there's no concern. When the situation is uplifting, that does not mean there is no adversity. When the situation makes you happy, that does not mean everything is well. Adversity exists because solution is present at the same time. Problems are around because solutions are around at the same time. Challenges are present because the means to overcome them are present at the same time. Take the heart. Take the heart. Wear your caps again, my dear teachers. Nourish your souls and hearts again. Put the parts of yourselves back again. No one can do the job better except you. You are not only chosen, you are not only called for the field, you are chosen. It's a calling that we must continue fulfilling. We can do it. We can do it. If only we see that everyone around us could help us overcome things. We cannot do it alone. And therefore, let us not do it all by ourselves. Sustainability is the job of everyone. During my opening, I told you, when everyone is sitting, stand up. Dear teachers, I know that a lot of parents decided to sit down. Stand up for them. I know that some of you probably decided to sit down too. Those who are standing up, continue standing up for your colleagues. Even administrators, I think, some of them gave up or decided to sit down and just allow things to happen. Please stand up for your administrators. And when everyone is already standing up, it's time for you to stand out. It's time for you to stand out. Make another way. Make another way. Initiate a better thing. Introduce something new. Revive the interest. When everyone is standing out, my dear teachers, I know you can be outstanding. You can be outstanding. When people around you think that they can never be outstanding, show to them that it is possible to be one. When our dear students see that in us, they would not settle for less. Definitely, definitely. They would strive each day not to ask their parents to simply accomplish the modules for them, but definitely they will strive each day to do things on their own, learn by themselves, no matter how gradual it can be. That is when they see in their teachers that they remain indefatigable, whether that is literal or symbolical. Is it possible for us to be the standard? Yes. When people are already outstanding, my dear teachers, be the standard. Be the standard. Set the way. Set the standard. In a world where sustainability and excellence are the name of the game, we cannot afford to be complacent. We cannot afford to be complacent. We need to unlearn, learn, relearn things. Because if we are applying the same method this time around, applying the same method even when the situation doesn't call for it anymore, we might be receiving the same result that is no longer applicable at present. We need to change our approaches. We need to change our mindset towards things. We need to change our actions towards things. If there is also a need to change what is in our heart, then let us do that one. Because it is only when we accept change and challenge it later on that we will become significant. We will become significant despite the changing needs of time and space. The significance of teachers, remember this one, remains with or without pandemic. This significance will definitely lead all of us, because I am also a teacher. This significance, this importance will definitely lead all of us to a very successful journey. A journey that would make us realize that we are teachers and that we are the controllers, makers of everything that we want to achieve. It is not a sin to flex how able we are as teachers. Kaya pa ba? Kaya pa ba ng mga guro ang nangyayari sa kasalukuyan? Bago mo isipin kung kaya mo pa, flex your ability. Flex your strength. Flex the unique you. Flex the new you. Because it's not a sin to flex how able we are as teachers in making learning a reality in every student. This is a commitment that each of us must not forget. The new normal demands the birth of the new us, the better versions of ourselves, obeisant to changes, fearless to challenges. No one will do this one for us. No one will do this for our parents. No one will do this for our students. Only the teachers can do this one. So we need to give birth to the new us, better versions of ourselves, obeisant to changes, fearless to challenges. Let us all break familiars. Familiars are no longer applicable at present times. We need to break them. Boxes are no longer applicable at present times. We need to blow them up. Teachers, let us continue to model what is pleasant. Sustain what is good. Correct what isn't, no matter how minuscule it can be. If you can't write, then read. If you can't read, then speak. If you can't speak, then listen. Simply, my dear teachers, all of us need to do something to learn. All of us need to do something to overcome the situation where we are in at the moment. We need to do something so that we can show to our students that we are the teachers worthy to be emulated. We're the teachers who remain to be the models, and therefore the right people who can change their lives and make their dreams come true. I repeat, if you can't write, then read. If you can't read, then speak. If you can't speak, then listen. Our job, my dear teachers, is to do something. To do something to learn. To do something to accomplish our goals. To do something to realize our intentions. To do something to make our commitment a reality. To do something to fulfill the dreams of our students, which they have entrusted upon us. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to share with all of you something about the new teacher that is required by the new normal, where sustainability is indeed a requirement. Let us all stay blessed, everyone.
Thank you, Dr. Crisostomo, for a very informative talk. We appreciated how you dwelt on challenging everyone to be the better versions of themselves, and that there should be that paradigm shift on focusing what appease our feelings and nourish our souls. We appreciated the 8 characteristics of great teachers, and that um, very significant is what you mentioned on the situation that we are in would not, should not, and cannot, and did not change our characteristics as teachers. And that sustainability is the job of everyone. Um, One of the highlights, a very um, significant quote that I remember is when everyone is standing up, it's time for us to stand out and then be outstanding. So, dear teachers, let us all flex. Thank you again, Dr. Chrysostoma. Now let us proceed to our next speaker who will share with us her topic, the leaders and the teachers in the new normal era, resilient, adaptive, innovative, and creative. She took up her Master of Arts in Education, major in Educational Management in the University of the Assumption, and currently taking Doctor of Philosophy in Educational Leadership and Management in La Consolacion University. She is the officer in charge of the Office of the Assistant Schools Division, Superintendent of DepEd Schools Division Office of Pampanga. Please help me welcome Ma'am Rowena T. Kiambao.
Good morning. Good morning. Can you hear me,
Morning
sir?
po.
Sir
Yes,
Errol?
ma'am. Yes,
Yeah,
ma'am. It's
good
clear.
morning, everyone. I just like to correct, I am not anymore the Assistant Superintendent of Pampanga. I'm already connected with the Schools Division of Bulacan.
I stand corrected po. Thank you po.
Okay. Thank you, Sir Errol. And hello, Ma'am Mildred. I listened to your sharing. I was also inspired. You're always inspiring. Thank you. So first, I'd like to say thank you to the St. Anthony College of Technology, ang ating pong presidente, si Mr. Anthony Yap. Maraming salamat po, President. Of course po, ang Little President, Doc Nai. Thank you for always inviting me and the rest of the resource speakers for today. I saw Doc Nards is also with us today. Maraming salamat po, Doc Nai Olalia. Of course, ang ating pong Dean of Graduate School, si Dr. Mary Ann Villana. Siyempre po, ang ating mga speakers for today. Ang ating pong faculty, I know marami po akong kaibigan sa ating mga faculty po ng graduate school, ang ating mga supervisors. Kasama po sila ngayon. Good morning. I miss everyone. Of course po, our participants, our leaders of our schools, and of course, our dear teachers. Good morning. Isang mapagpalang umaga po. Maya Payabak po kay Kayungan. So for today, I will be sharing ano po ito, no? Continuation siguro nung sharing kanina ni Doc Mildred. Doc Mildred was talking about the characteristics of our teachers, whether it is pandemic or not. No, we have to always be good. No, whether there is a challenge or there is a problem or it is normal. So it's a continuation, but I have to be more specific with the adjectives that our leaders and of course our teachers in the new normal today are resilient. They are adaptive or adaptable, they are innovative, and they are creative. All right, can we begin with a prayer? I'd like to share with you this prayer of the CESOS. It's our prayer at the CESB. It's called the Civil Servants Prayer. It's a very beautiful prayer, and I hope that every day you also include this in your prayers, no? That God will really make us good civil servants. So let us pray. Almighty and eternal God, I praise and thank you for calling me to serve your people. Give me your anointing and help me not to seek power or position, but rather make me a vessel of your grace to touch the lives of our people and seek to be worthy of your love. Lord, mold me to your heart. Use me as a channel of your compassion. Help me to be worthy of your trust, that I may be an instrument of peace and hope to everyone. Give me courage to be an agent of change, to achieve our dream of transformation. Finally, I ask you to heal our land and to restore faith and righteousness in our nation. This I ask in the mighty name of God. Amen. So the prayer is a very beautiful prayer. You're asking God to use us to be a channel of His compassion and to be worthy of His trust. Okay, and to give us courage to be an agent of change and to achieve our dream of transformation. All right, so these are our session objectives for this hour. At the end of the session, our participants are expected to describe school leadership and teaching in the new normal education system. Okay, letter B is to suggest on how a leader and a teacher can become resilient, adaptive, innovative, creative while serving in the new normal setup. And letter C, we hope that after the session, we can reflect and appreciate the gifts of the new normal education. So there's a silver lining in what is happening with us now. All right, can we have first a temperature check? I want you to get your phone and go to www.menti.com and use the code 8500935. Okay, we have a short quiz for you to answer. It's a multiple choice question. Okay, so we just like to ask you, how do you feel about the new normal education? Yeah. Let's see. Okay, present me that. Okay, so we can see now the answers. Okay, we have, thank you for participating. Present me that. Yeah. All right, so as of this moment, we have 22% of our participants who are excited. That's very good. 15%, 14% are worried. Thank you for being honest, and that's your feeling. And we're very happy that majority of you are hopeful. So that's a very good feeling, no? That we are still hopeful that something good will happen. So thank you for participating. So this is our quiz. This is our temperature check for this morning for our participants. I'm very happy that no one is afraid, no? So we have 68%. Majority of our participants are hopeful. That's a very good sign that meron pang dumadagdag, 70 na. Okay? 70% ang hopeful. And 20% are excited. And that's also a positive feeling. And 11% is worried, no? So we'll do something about your worry. We might have a reflection later why you are worried. Okay, so thank you. So this is our result of our survey for this morning for our temperature check. 70% are hopeful, 19% are excited, and 11% are worried. Thank you for your honesty, and thank you for participating in our simple survey for this morning, which is our temperature check. All right, thank you. All right. Why are we here today? Why are you in school? Why are you at St. Anthony pursuing your education for your professional development? Because we all want to contribute to quality education. Okay? Parang pang Miss Universe yan. Pag tinanong tayo, no? What is your contribution? What is your dream for the education of the country? We always say, I want to give, I want to provide quality education. So let's just look at quality education in the perspective of the world. You all know about the Sustainable Development Goals. We have 17 of them. Please always remember SDG 4. And what is SDG 4? To ensure inclusive and equitable quality education. So it's about quality education. And when we say quality education, it is inclusive. It includes all. No child is left behind. No? And it is equitable. That's why we have what we call the inclusive education program. No? We have our iPad, we have our SPED, okay, we have our special programs, special science programs, foreign language, for sports, and others, okay, because we would like to give really what our learners need, and no learner will be left behind, okay? And to promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. Now that we are in the field of education, whether in the basic education or in the tertiary, okay, education, we are contributing to SDG number 4. Okay, that is our contribution. And in the Philippines, we have launched the DepEd launched the Sulong Educalidad. No? This was after the results of the PISA were given, and we saw how we fared in an international assessment. No? We were last in science and mathematics, and then we were second in reading. So it's something that we have to look into our process of giving quality education. That's why after the PISA results, the DepEd introduced the Sulong Educalidad. So it's a transfer, it's a shift from access to quality. And you all know the KITE. We have the KITE. The K stands for K to 12 curriculum review. That's why during the pandemic, the DepEd was already ready because they were already doing the K to 12 review. No? They were able to easily identify the most essential learning competencies. Okay, letter I is the improvement of our learning environment. Today, we have included the safety of our learners and our teachers. No, for our principals who are here, you can now purchase materials, okay, or even equipment that can be used for our new normal education and for the safety of our people. Okay, so that's another addition in our improvement of learning environment. And then we have letter T, which is teachers upskilling and reskilling. This year, because of the pandemic and our shift to the distance education, to online education, to online learning, online trainings, we have our webinars. So we have trained, we have upskilled our teachers on the use of technology when it comes to teaching, when it comes to learning, when they attend trainings. No? So there's the teachers upskilling and reskilling. And letter E is the engagement of our stakeholders. So we always say this, that it takes a village to educate a child. So we always involve our stakeholders, we always engage their support. So that is our shift now. We already have the access. In fact, this year, we have increased our enrollment because there are a lot of learners from the private schools who transferred to us. So we are already very good with access. It is high time that we shift to quality, okay, and give really premium to giving quality education. Now that we have a new normal setup, still we have to provide quality education. Okay, this is our promise, this is our vow, this is our commitment as teachers and as leaders, that we will be able to contribute to SDG 4 and we will be able to contribute to the development of our country. I would just like to share this now. When we look at the development of the nation, we just don't look at the GNP or the GDP, no? The economics part. We have what we call the Human Development Index, no? And one of the criteria, one of the factors or areas that are being checked when they look into the HDI of a country is education. So if we really would like to improve the quality life of Filipinos, no, we really have to provide quality education. Okay, and that is our commitment. So even kanina, I listened to Doc Mildred, and she was saying, okay, that kahit may pandemic, you still have to be good teachers, no? Kahit may pandemic, we still have to provide, the more that we have to provide quality education. So this is our situation now. Our world is sick, no? All of us are wearing masks and we are all afraid of COVID, no? But we have that courage, we have that braveness that we can recover. That's why we have our National Recovery Program. All agencies in the government are contributing to our National Recovery Program. We all know that COVID-19 has changed the landscape of our education system. No? We used to have homeschooling or some online learning, but really not 100%. No? But this year, we're very thankful that we were able to experience this, no? Because this made us stronger, this made us braver. Okay, so it gave birth to the new normal education system. So our question now is, how ready are we for this challenge? How ready are we for this change? Okay, as leaders and as teachers, what kind of characteristics or qualities should we have for us to be ready with this change, with this crisis, with this challenge? Okay, I'd like to share with you the video on the future of the education in the new normal. And I'd like you to jot down whatever you think is striking in this video. Okay.
As our societies evolve, so do our education systems. But what does the future of education look like? To answer this question and understand how traditional models are evolving, we looked at emerging features that may become the new normal in education systems around the world. What did we see? Traditionally, in education systems, decisions are made by a select group of people, and everyone has a distinct role. Students learn by listening to their teachers, teachers teach, and principals manage the schools. The curriculum is linear and standardized. Academic performance is prioritized, and students are assessed through standardized tests. How is this changing? Education systems embodying the new normal are part of a larger ecosystem where decision-making and responsibilities are shared among a wide group of stakeholders, and students are active participants in their own learning. In these schools, the learning process and student well-being are also valued in addition to academic performance. There is a recognition that students come from different backgrounds and learn in different ways. Learning happens in a non-linear process with different types of assessments used for different purposes. These schools are monitored no longer just to ensure accountability, but also to encourage frequent feedback at all levels to continually improve the education system. The future, by definition, is unpredictable. But by developing responsive education systems, we can help our children adapt to, thrive in, and even shape whatever the future holds.
All right. Okay. Can you hear me now? Were you able to listen to our short video? All right, let's just summarize what we learned from the video. So there was a comparison between the traditional and the new normal education system. Okay, for the traditional, it was mentioned that decisions are made by a select group of people. But in the new normal, decision making and responsibilities are shared among the stakeholders. So I think this has been happening before the new normal. In DepEd, we have what we call the SBM. Okay. All right, so we have the school-based management where there is shared responsibility and governance with our stakeholders. Okay, next, For the traditional, our students learn by listening to their teachers, teachers teach, and principals manage the school. I think for some schools that was still happening, but for the new normal and the 21st century, our students are already active participants in their own learning. I think we have to improve on this, on giving them independent learning. Like this year, we were able to experience that, okay, and make our learners experience that, making them active participants in their own learning. That's enrichment of the curriculum. It's not only teachers who will provide the information. Ang mission nga ng teachers ay teachers to facilitate learning and constantly nurture every learner. So our teachers, our dear teachers who are listening to me right now, that is your mission, okay? That you will facilitate learning and you will make your students become active participants in their own learning. For the traditional education system, the curriculum is linear and it is standardized. And our assessment are also using standardized tests. For the new normal, we are looking into learning that happens in a non-linear process with different types of assessment used for different purposes. So in DepEd, we already have our DepEd order on the assessment. So I hope our teachers already look into that, okay, because we have a new situation. Okay, so therefore we have also a DepEd order on the assessment of our learners. It was also mentioned in the video that academic performance is prioritized, no? But for the new normal, for the 21st century learning, the learning process and student well-being are also valued in addition to academic performance. So we don't always tell our learners that grades are important, honors are important. These are important, but more importantly, okay, the learning process, okay, their journey in learning, as well as their well-being are valued. And there is a recognition that students come from different backgrounds and they learn in different ways. Today, we can see our learners who really come from different backgrounds, looking into their family, because right now they have their homeschooling, and our parents are the ones who really teach them. Ang dami ng mga jokes tungkol sa mga parents natin na sila yung nagtuturo. Yesterday, I was with our RD, who is our concurrent schools division superintendent in DepEd Bulacan, and we visited our schools in Norsagaray and Angat. So I saw the retrieval of the modules, and we were asking the parents how are they, because they are now the teachers of our learners, and they were saying, nahihirapan po kami, ang hirap po palang mag-aral, ang hirap po palang magturo. So these are the different backgrounds of our learners. And when we look into their diversity, we always have to adjust our instruction. If there is diverse learning, there's also diverse instruction, because our learners are unique, they are diverse, and they have different backgrounds, different culture, different families, and they learn in different ways. All right, so for this morning, looking into the situation, we are in the new normal, okay? It's a new situation, it's a new context, okay? There's a challenge, there's a crisis, okay? And what is expected of us, leaders and teachers in this new normal? We have to be resilient. There are a lot of adversities, problems, challenges. We have to be strong, okay? We have to be courageous. Our secretary is always telling us, Madam Liling, who is also an inspiration of bravery and courage. She's telling us that we are continuing education to make our learners receive the message that despite the problem, we still want to continue to make them learn. We want to teach them bravery and courage and faith that everything will be okay. Okay, after this, we will have our new life, newly born life, and that we have to teach our learners. So even if it's really very difficult for us to teach using the modules, using online, may blended learning, okay, ang dami nating mga alternative delivery modes just to make our learners learn. Okay, so we have to be resilient. We also have to be adaptive and adaptable. Be flexible. Okay, and then when we are resilient, we are adaptive. We are able to do innovations, make our imagination and creativity work, and we become innovative and we become creative. Okay, let's start with resiliency. What is resilient leadership? Even if you are a teacher, you are a leader in your classroom. No? Our principals who are here, or our supervisors who are here, we are all called to become resilient leaders. So when you are a resilient leader, you see failure as a temporary setback, no? And that we can recover from it quickly. Okay. When you are a resilient leader, you maintain a positive attitude. Okay, you really have to be calm, you have to be confident, you have to show that positive attitude, especially if you are a principal, because you are the one leading your teachers and they're getting their strength from you. You should have a strong sense of opportunity during periods of turbulence. You can look into a crisis and change it into an opportunity, convert it to an opportunity. Okay, when faced with an ambiguity, a resilient leader finds a way to move forward and avoids getting stuck. Okay, you walk again, you move forward and do not be stuck. And that's being resilient. Okay, I'd like to share this with you. Sa Facebook po, meron akong mga short haikus na. And I took these photos, I think in Masantol, when doon po ako nagturo ng 9 years at 5 years na principal, no? And when I was assigned in a coastal school in Masantol, I always see mangroves, no? And mangroves are symbols of strength, of resilience. So this was my haiku: strong, sturdy, standing. Okay? We are strong, we are sturdy, standing. Okay? Not sitting, not lying. Okay? We always stand. Okay? Strong. Stopping big and monstrous waves. What are these big and monstrous waves? These are the challenges in our lives. For this year, it's the pandemic, it's coronavirus that has really been a big wave, okay, in our life. And we are rooted, we are resilient. Okay, bakit ang mangrove, ang lakas-lakas ng alon, pero it remains standing, no? It remains resilient because it is rooted. Okay, okay, let's look at ourselves. How are we doing in this time of crisis? Are we also rooted? Ano yung roots natin? Kung sino yung nagbibigay ng lakas sa atin? Let us be like the mangroves, no? Be resilient, strong, and standing, even if there are a lot of waves around us, a lot of challenges, and a lot of problems. Okay, ano yung resilience? It's the human capacity to meet adversity, okay? Setbacks, trauma, okay? And then you recover from them in order to live life fully. This year, our nurses are busy giving PFA, psychological first aid, psychosocial first aid, because there is really a need to help our people. Mental wellness and mental health is really very important. So that we have people really guiding our teachers and our leaders so that they become resilient, no? To sustain your energy. Okay, do not say, pagod na ako, wala na akong energy, hindi ko na kaya. Then you are not a resilient leader. But if you say, I have my energy and it is sustained, okay, even if I am under pressure, I am able to cope with the different disruptive changes and I am able to adapt. Okay, that's resiliency. You bounce back from setbacks. Okay, you overcome major difficulties without engaging in dysfunctional behavior. Okay, kaya yung ating discussion ng crisis leadership sa Pampanga, when I was with you, I was saying that one of the C's is calm. Okay, to be calm, okay, to be collected, to be cool when there is a crisis, to be confident, okay, that we can bounce back from this crisis. Okay, I read this and I'd like to share this with you. Being a resilient leader, okay, you have to have first self-leadership. Okay, the poem of William Ernest Henley, which is titled Invictus, okay, it says that I am the master of my fate, I am the captain of my soul. Okay, we always go back first to ourselves before we can lead other people. Before we can lead a school, before we can lead a district or a school's division, or even the entire country, for our president, for our secretary of DepEd, no? We have to lead ourselves first before we are able to lead others successfully. So self-leadership provides the backbone for the effective leadership of groups, okay? Una muna yung sarili natin, okay? And then when we are able to lead ourselves, to become the master of our fate and the captain of our souls, then we are able to effectively lead the team or the group that was given to us for our leadership and for our stewardship, okay? Beyond resilience is the joy of living, okay? How can we ensure that there is still the joy of living despite a lot of problems, despite a lot of crises? Okay, so there are different aspects of our identity, okay? We have our personal roles. Pag tinignan natin yung sarili natin, meron tayong personal roles. You have your goals, visions, ethics. For example, ako, I am a mother, okay? I am a wife, I am a friend, okay? I am a daughter, I am a sister. That's my personal role, okay? Pag sinabi nating professional roles, okay, these are your goals, visions, ethics, procedures, also, and your values as a teacher, okay, as a principal. And then the organizational role, okay, being that professional, you also have a role in the organization, especially if you are the leader in that organization, okay, you really have to show resilience, okay? So how are we able to experience the joy of living beyond our resilience when we are able to manage, okay, the three? Okay, when you look at yourself, okay, when we look at ourselves, we're not anymore looking at ourselves being a person only, but looking into ourselves as a professional, as a member of a team, as a member of the organization, because we are working, no? We are a part of DepEd, we are a part of CHED, okay? We are a part of our organization, okay? So, that's ako pag nagpo-post ako sa Facebook, ang tawag ko dito ay stop and smell the roses, no? It's not only working, okay? I'm not just the assistant superintendent, no? I'm not just a teacher, but I am a mother, I am a wife, I am a sister, I am a friend. So when I give time, when I give quality time for this, my personal roles, I call it stopping and smelling the roses. No? There's a call for all of us to have the balance. No? Kung ikaw, okay, puro na lang organizational roles, puro na lang professional roles, and you're able to forget personal roles, o pag matanda ka na, hindi mo na kayang gawin yun. No? So today, I think that's the challenge for all of us, okay, to balance the three. Ensure that the different aspects of our identity are in balance, okay? And with that, beyond our resilience, beyond our strength and our courage, we're able to feel the joy of living. All right, so that is resilience. The next one is for us to be adaptable, to have what we call the AQ, okay? Dati ang tawag lang natin sa ating world ay VUCA world, no? There's volatility, we know this. There's uncertainty, there's complexity and ambiguity. And this year, we experienced it. But today, merong dinagdag sa ating VUCA, no? The D-VUCA. There is a disruption, okay? We experience volatility, uncertainty, complexity, ambiguity, and diversity, okay? Ang leadership journey natin, okay, will always include frequent pathway changes. And this is a pathway change, no? Kung hindi ka magaling na principal na dumiskarte, ang tawag natin dito, organizational skills. Okay, usually during opening of classes, we have a lot of problems when we were still in the old normal, the tradition, the old one, no, the old experience, no. Pag opening of classes, walang upuan, walang teacher, maraming bata, walang classroom. These are always our problems. Okay, lalo na ngayon, no. Kung noon nga, when there was no pandemic yet, we experienced those. The more that we experience today's VUCA, no? Okay, there is disruption, there is diversity, and it's really volatile. We don't know what will happen next. Okay, we're just hoping. Ang feelings natin kanina is there is hope for recovery, for a recovered world. That's why we have to be, kanina sabi natin, resilient. But this time, we say we have to have adversity quotient. We have to have adaptability quotient because we don't know what will happen, okay, next. That's why we have to be always ready. We have to be adaptable, okay? So, pag sinabi nating AQ, pwede siyang adversity quotient, pwede siyang adaptability quotient, no? When we say adversity quotient, it's a score that measures, so hindi na lang ngayon IQ, EQ, dati when we were talking about leadership, they were saying that a leader should have high IQ, okay? Later, they were saying that EQ is important. Huh? Today, aside from IQ, aside from AQ, yung IQ, mayroon na tayo nun kasi teachers tayo, leaders tayo, pumasa tayo ng exam. So that means we have that, no? We have that intelligence that is required for us to really do our job. Okay, then there's the EQ. We have to have that for us to develop relationship, no? When we look at our achievements as leaders, it's not the accomplishments that we have that will define our leadership. I think it's Dr. Garma who mentioned that, or Director Garma. Okay, sabi niya, I will not define you, dear principals and leaders, with your accomplishments in your schools, with your achievements in your schools, but with the relationships that you build with your teachers. Okay, I think that's very important. That's why we always say that EQ is important. Now we have the AQ. It's adversity quotient, no? It measures how we deal with the different adversities in our life. Okay, if we are able to turn problems into opportunities, then therefore we have high AQ. Another is also the adaptability quotient. Okay, so we are able to adapt, to thrive in a fast-changing environment. Yung ating excuse me, yung ating video kanina, it mentioned that we are in the new normal, so therefore we have to give a responsive education where our learners thrive, no? Where our learners adapt, and where our learners respond to the changing environment. So as a leader and as a teacher, when do we say that we have high adaptability quotient? When we are flexible, okay? Even if we have the standards, but when there is an adversity, there is a problem, you have to contextualize, okay? There's the context. We are curious, you are resilient, we are risk taker, resourceful, open-minded, proactive, and growth-driven, no? Okay, there's a changing environment, there is a situation, there is an adversity. So therefore, if you have high AQ, we really have to adjust, okay? We have to be proactive, we have to be flexible, okay? I'd like to share with you this simple AQ test. I hope you can get your notebooks and give yourself, excuse me, give yourself a rating, okay? The highest is 5, which is always. Number 4 is frequent. Number 3, regular. Number 2, seldom. And number 1 is never. Okay, get your notebooks or your any paper or a pen, and then give yourself a score. Okay, this is now a self-reflection on how adaptable you are. So we'll try to check your adaptability quotient. Okay, so number 1, I think about new and different ways I can accomplish my goals. So if you have a goal, you think of new and different ways by which you are able to accomplish them. Is that always? Is that frequent, regular, seldom, or never? Okay. Number 2, I challenge myself to question what I presume to know. Okay. Do you always do that or never? Number 3, I am able to shift gears with minimal complaints. Okay. Number 4, my core values are clear to me and my colleague and my members. Okay. As a leader, as a teacher, we have to be clear with our values. No? Okay. What are these values that we hold on up to? Okay. Up to our last breath. Okay. Because these are our principles, and we really we really make this as our the values of our heart, of our lives, of our core. Then number 5, I can readily imagine uses for old ideas. Okay. Now, next, my habit is to reach for help and acknowledge the assistance. Okay. Okay. If you don't know it, you can always ask assistance, okay, to your mentors, to your coaches, to your superiors, and then you acknowledge the assistance of the helper, of your coach or your mentor. Then next, I like to experiment with new ideas. If you are that, okay, you do that always, you give yourself a grade of 5. If not, you give yourself a grade of 1. Next, I never fall in love with my wins and proactively seek out the next challenge. Okay, you have a lot of achievements, but you never fall in love. This is about humility, no? And still proactively seeking the next challenge. If you are able to win the last test, okay, the last test, then therefore you seek now the next challenge. And then my failures present opportunities for innovation. All right, let's see your score. Okay, so it's only you who knows your score, no? Who know your score. All right, if your score is 10 to 20, that means your answers are 1 or 2. Okay, this is an advice. It's time for you to retire. Okay, or get out of the way because you cannot adapt. Okay, you are not adaptive, you are not adaptable. Okay, ngayon nangyayari to, no? In our division, we have teachers, especially the old teachers, and we're very sad about it, no? Who resigned, no? Because they were saying they cannot anymore. They don't have the health and the energy to do what other teachers are doing, like going to school, okay, putting the SLMs in the bags, okay, and then giving them to parents, okay. So we have number of teachers who retired already. Some resigned, some new teachers. I was telling to a principal. No, a principal called me and telling me that she has a teacher who already resigned because the teacher says she cannot anymore endure, okay, the demands of the work as a teacher when they have to go to the school to distribute modules, to retrieve modules, and to talk to parents and to check the modules or even have online learning. No, all right. Next, if your score is 21 to 30, I think you need help or to get a coach or mentor. No? If you are a teacher, talk to your principal or to your nurse. No, our nurses are giving help. No, so I think okay, you need the help with your coach and with your mentor. If your score is 31 to 40, congratulations, you are on your way to being adaptable. So there is hope in you. And if your score is 41 to 45, very good. And congratulations. You are a change agent and you should be mentoring others. You mentor those who got 21 to 30. No? Even if you are not a principal, you are a teacher, and you have that maturity, you have that adaptability that you can help others. So please do mentor others. So I think that's our AQ. I hope everyone is from 31 to 45. No one is below. Okay, the scoring, that's 10 to 20 or 21 to 30. Okay, because we are still here. We have not yet resigned. We have not retired because we are saying that we are okay. We can adjust. We are flexible and we can adapt. Okay. All right. So when we are resilient, when we are adaptive and adaptable, therefore our imagination can work and we can create new ideas. We can introduce new processes, okay, and therefore after being imaginative and creative, then we can have innovation. When we say innovation, we don't just think outside the box. No, let us think now that there is no box. If there is no box, therefore we have to create and we have to innovate. We have to be innovative. Okay. I'd like to share this with you. No, I got this. It's a sharing about the 5 skills, okay, that creative and innovative people have. If you look at the graph, it says that the ability to think creatively is only about for genetics, it's only 1/3. So we inherited that from our parents, no? When you are creative, you are innovative, okay? I think that the graph tells us that 1/3 of that is genetics. So thanks to our parents for teaching us, okay, for giving us creativity, no, through the chromosomes. Okay, and 2/3, okay, is acquiring, practicing, and honing a special set of skills. So you may say, I'm not creative, I am not innovative, but look at the graph. It says that 2/3 of it the ability for us to be creative, to be innovative, can be acquired, can be practiced, can be honed. So it's from our, so 1/3 is nature, but 2/3 is nurture. So it can be nurtured. Okay, so for those of you who are listening and saying that you are not innovative, you are not creative, there is still chance, okay, for you to be that. No, I'd like to borrow the words of Ma'am Makaspak, the SDS now of San Fernando, who used to be my ASDS when she was encouraging us to do innovation. So, okay, when I was still a principal, she would tell us, innovate or evaporate. Okay, if you don't know how to innovate as a leader, then you evaporate. Okay, because it's really a need for us leaders to be creative and to be innovative. All right, number one, what skill? It's associating. Okay, when you associate, you are able to connect unrelated questions, problems, or ideas. And how do we get this? When we read. Okay, so please read a lot. If you are a leader, you are a reader. No? When you travel, when you attend webinars like this or go to school, no, for your formal education, you learn a lot. Then what you do with all your learnings is to associate them, and you help build random connections between the different fields that could spark an innovative idea. So it's good that we are lifelong learners. Sabi nga natin, kapag teacher ka, kapag leader ka, you are a forever learner. Okay? You are a forever, you learn forever because you have to grow. You are handling people, and therefore when you mentor them, you have to be a very good mentor. So when you are able to connect everything that you see, everything that you learn, okay, from your reading, from your learning, from your attending of trainings, from your formal education, then you will be able to have innovative ideas. Huh? Okay, that's associating. Okay, number 2, questioning. All right, you can ask questions, no? Instead of focusing on the why are we doing this? Okay, why am I doing this? Why I am a teacher, why am I doing this? You can ask a powerful and engaging question, and that is what if. What if I will do this? Okay, what if this is how I will do it? Okay, instead, for example, of what is required, and I can think of a better way to do it. Okay, or there is a possible solution. All right, so therefore that would lead to your mind, okay, your imagination working, and you are able to create new ideas, new processes. No, so when you question, let us shift your question to why, to what if, okay? And what can I do more? What can I do better? Okay, how can I do it better? All right. So number 1 is associating. Number 2 is questioning. Okay. If you are a creative leader, you can question. Okay, on how you can do it better and what if. Okay, you will do this. What if you will do this, and what will happen? Okay, do not be afraid. We mentioned a while back that if you are an adaptive leader, you are a risk taker. Okay. Number 3, if you would like to be creative and innovative, okay, the skill is observing. Okay. Usually we are often distracted. Like now, we are thinking about the modules. Okay, how many modules are still needed? How many modules do we need to print? Okay, and these are I think the concerns now of our teachers and of our principals. Like in our division, we only gave them 50% of the modules that they needed. No? But we saw school heads who questioned the what if, no? And they were able to produce the other 50%. Okay. You observe, usually it's a very difficult skill, no? Because of our distractions. Okay. But you observe on how people behave. This is the psychology, no? The environment around us, the processes that are being practiced. Okay. And then this will help us identify problems, no? That are existing, and we recommend, we suggest potential new solutions. If you don't observe, okay, we are not able to see that there might be problems that need to be solved. Okay, but through our observations, okay, when we see, we can see some flaws in processes. For example, we are able to give or to recommend and to implement potential new solutions. Okay, then therefore that's an innovation, and that's creativity. Okay. Number 4, experiment. I mentioned a while back, do not be afraid to take the risk. No? You introduce an innovation, you allow yourself to try new ideas, and you see the possibility of a failure. But after the failure, we mentioned that if you are resilient, you bounce back, no, and correct what was the flaw or the failure. Okay. You experiment on something that is new, and who knows, because if you will not take the risk, okay, you will not start. Okay, and if you took the risk, you experiment on something that is new. All right. Sabi nga natin, thinking outside the box, or thinking that there is no box, no? Okay, so you start with that, the taking of the risk. Okay, and then when you are there, you now experiment on your new process or your innovative idea, no? Okay, and then you will see that later it will be adopted even, no? In the division, when we have our ranking, no? Merong points ang innovation, but we hope that the reason why you innovate is not because of the promotion, no? It's because you would like to improve your school. It's because you want to improve your organization. If you still remember, our division, nung nasa Pampanga po ako, no, and even Bulacan, no, is one of the divisions, no, that piloted the continuous improvement program. Okay, we have seen problems like in instruction, in the environment, and even in our partnership in the different areas of the school. And we were able to solve our problems based on our context. Okay, and that is using the continuous improvement, the CI process. Okay, that's experimenting. Okay, like one school is having a problem with reading, the other school is having also a problem with the many non-readers. Okay, the strategy of one school is different from the other school. That's creativity. That's being innovative, because you are answering the problem based on your context, no? on your situation. Okay, we are very happy that this the CR project is now included in the school improvement plan, and our principals and our teachers are really encouraged to innovate, okay, to solve their problems in the schools when they see gaps, okay, with regards to their performance, when they see the gaps in their accomplished the targets, okay, that were not accomplished, or even their data. For example, the number of non-readers that they have, the number of non-numerates that they have. Okay, the principal will not just sit down looking into the problem, but we'll meet the team, okay, the CIP team, and they will try to look how they could experiment, okay, how they could solve the problem. Okay, so that is experimenting. So I'm what I'm telling our teachers and our principals who are here, okay, do not be afraid to do that. Okay, you experiment, okay, you make your creative minds work, and you will be able to see a lot of possible solutions to our many problems in our organization or in our schools, in our institution. Okay, all right, next is networking. This is very important. Okay, like when you are now enrolled in the school, in the graduate school, you are able to build your networks, no? Dumadami pag nag-seminar ka, nag-aral ka, okay? And even in the organization, okay? You are able to build your network, your linkages, okay? From people with different backgrounds and different experiences. That's why if you have an opportunity to do this, okay, to, for example, to attend a seminar where you will meet a lot of people, if not even only from DepEd and SHED, but even from other agencies, you grab the opportunity because the networking will also help you, no? You see a different perspective. Oh, it was done in this school and it was very effective. Let's try it in our school. It might also be effective. So we are able to see other ideas, no? For example, right now, what we do is we have our Facebook group, no? Meron tayong Facebook DepEd tayo, meron tayong groups where we ask our principals to share their best practices and what they are doing, no? So other principals are saying, can I borrow that? No, I will also do that in my school, no? So that's a network. For example, you met another from DOST, okay, or from another agency, okay, and the leader is able to connect with that agency and able to have unique ideas from that agency that can be adopted, that can be implemented in the school. So that networking is really helpful for us to be creative and to be innovative because we learn from a lot of people whom we engage with. Yeah? So when we have opportunities for us to improve our networking, our linkages through the activities that we attend, we grab that. No? Ako, for example, kami, when I attend seminars, okay, like when we had our saldiwa and gabay ng paglilingkod na for us in the CES board, kami pong mga CESO, no? That's also networking, no? We have friends from other agencies and then they have projects that they can share with us, no? And we are able to adopt their projects that can be implemented in our own agency. Okay, so that's networking. I hope we will learn this. No, if today you are not good in networking, okay, you are not good in experimenting. Okay, you try to develop it because as per the research, 1/3 is inherited, but 2/3 is developed. No, you don't say I am not creative, I am not innovative, but you can develop it. I think the 5 are parang it's a start for us, no, to look into ourselves as leaders and as teachers. Okay, ako po nung ASDS ako ng Pampanga, nagbibigay ako ng award ng VIP, no, very innovative principals because I encourage them to do innovations, ne, and to share also with others their innovations. And we had a lot of VIPs, no, very innovative principals. If you are a teacher, very innovative person, no. Let's not be afraid to do that. Okay, we have a creative mind, and when we develop it, we can innovate. No, let's be part of that team. Okay, the creative and innovative people by looking into the 5 skills that we can improve. Okay, I just like to share This is from DepEd, no? I think yung CHED, meron din silang mga innovation and creativity. Like this COVID, what happened, no? So meron na tayong DepEd TV episodes, no? Other divisions have their own DepEd TV, like Pampanga and San Fernando. Merong Fernandino Kids, merong Super K ng Pampanga, no? Okay, so meron tayong DepEd TV. So dapat pala noon pa, no? Bakit ngayong pandemic lang natin nalaman na dapat meron tayong enrichment of the curriculum through our DepEd TV episodes. So this is an innovation and it shows our creativity. So we thank and we salute our teacher broadcasters, no? And also our principals who support them, because our learners are now able to learn from our DepEd TV episodes. Then that's also the radio, no? Yung ating mga wala pong TV, walang signal ng internet, they are able to learn through radio-based instruction. Okay? So this is also an innovation and it's a creativity. Nakita natin kung paano in-implement ng DepEd ang kanyang BELCP. Okay? And ang CHED kasi ay ready na kayo, no? You were already doing flexible learning options. You were already doing your distance learning before, even during the pandemic. Okay, there were already some who were enrolled in your programs for distance learning. But for us in the basic education, it was our first time. But we're happy, okay, that this happened and we were able to do this. Okay, this one is in Kenya. Okay, so merong e-learning support also in the Philippines. Okay, we have our mayors who provided laptops, tablets, okay, even internet connectivity, Wi-Fi sticks, okay, to our learners to support distance education. Others have what we call the tent classrooms, okay, for those who are already doing the face-to-face, no, meron silang tinatawag na tent classroom. So these are innovations, okay. Meron na rin tayong tinatawag na virtual classroom, okay. Another is some colorful screens that help schools with social distancing. So pag nag-visit ka ng school, makikita mo yung creativity and innovativeness of our leaders and our teachers. No? Probably you can share your innovation and your creative ideas, okay, so that others also can learn from you. They can do benchmarking from you. Okay, ito, I'd like to share this with you. This is Ma'am Susette of Talang High School. So she was the first one who did Dropbox enrollment. And when we were asked by DepEd Central Office to give a report of our best practices, we included her report on Dropbox enrollment. And after that, after we have submitted our report, there came the DepEd order telling all our schools that they can do Dropbox enrollment. So that's being a trailblazer. No? You started it, okay, and then you gave us the report, and this was even featured in Inquirer.net. No? And then when we were asked to give our report on the best practices of our schools, we included this. That was during the period of enrollment. No? And after that, okay, DepEd adopted it, okay, and it issued a memo telling all schools to have Dropbox enrollment. So that's what I was saying about your innovation being adopted, okay, and it's not only now for you, but you are able to help others because they learned from your innovation, okay. I'd like also to share this one. So yung mga hand washing facilities, no? Okay, so yung drum, o kaya yung palanggana, yun ang ginamit because they don't have like funds for them to have really the constructed hand washing facilities. This one, the old washing machine. Okay, I saw that yesterday, no, in Angat. Okay, they had 3 of these. They were old washing machines, and they were converted into hand washing facilities. So they were in their near the gate. So people who enter the school have to wash their hands first. No, so this is an innovation. You were able to think of something new. Okay. Now, what we do now with our SLMs, our modules, because our parents are really like anxious of worried of what will happen to their children if if they would have manuals that were not disinfected, no? So today our schools are doing this, no? They purchase UV lights from their MOE, okay? So just to make the parents, okay, not worried about their children getting the virus from the paper. Okay, so these are some of our innovation and creativity. May I ask you now to share your innovations during this new normal by using the chat pane so that we can learn from you. Okay, I think we will still have time. Like, can we have 2 minutes of you using the chat pane, like during this new normal education? Can you share what were your innovations or your creative ideas that you implemented in the school? Okay, so it's 9:50. I think we can have up to 9:53. We'll look at your chat. Can we have your participation now? Because I cannot engage you because it's not a face to face. So let's see your answers. Okay. Chat. Tingnan nga natin. Ito. All right. Let's read your sharing. Okay. Can we see? Do you have your sharing? All right. What about the others? Privately yata. Can we see? Okay. Where are our participants? Okay, so Ma'am Gigi said regular disinfection every Saturday in our school after distribution and retrieval for health safety of our teachers and parents. Thank you, Ma'am G. Yung kay Sir Harold, he was sharing about a diploma program in coaching for teachers, no? Okay, what about the others? May we learn from the others? What have you been doing that you were not doing before? You introduced the innovation. Okay. Where are the other participants? Assignment na lang ba ibibigay sa ating mga professors? So I hope you can share this. Okay. You will use our session. Okay, for enrichment of your. All right. Ito yung kay Ma'am Chat. Okay, Ma'am Chat, kumustahan with our parents about the home learning. That's very good, no? Okay, you're able to listen. Sabi nga natin, listen to the voice of your customers. Okay, and our customers, okay, are also our parents. Today, they are now our partners. Okay, si Ma'am Jeanette. Kilala ko lahat ng mga to. Okay, Ma'am Jeanette, in our school, we created our own pigeon hole or room for the retrieval of modules, and they will be disinfected in the same room. Okay? Si Ma'am Wahe, Ma'am Paz, drop box for modules to be retrieved and distributed, and teachers wearing hand gloves. Okay, thank you for sharing. Okay.
Ma'am Rowena, may I also share the ones from Facebook Live?
Sige po. Sige.
From
so
Sir Hill
from the
SB.
innovations. Yes.
Okay po. Sorry po. From Ma'am Gina Silo Santos, we use UVC germicidal sterilizer box. And then from Sir Chris VMIS, in Villa Maria, ma'am, we used rickshaw to bring instructional videos in the mountains. And then Sir Early Bonifacio also mentioned the UVC germicidal sterilized box every Tuesday. And then Ma'am Enera Viray mentioned about regular disinfection in our school every Friday. And we also use UV light to disinfect the modules.
All
So far,
right.
those are the ones po who shared in
Oh,
FB
thank you
Live.
very much for sharing. At least we have the engagement of our participants, no? Thank you also. Yung sa Villa Maria, I think yun yung kolong-kolong, no? Para sa dunong. They have the kolong-kolong and it moves around the mountain kasi doon po yung sa Villa Maria sa Porac, no? And that's it was even featured, no? That's an innovation. Yung kay Sir Ariel, sabi niya, every Friday we have what we call the Chika Klase, no? It's a Facebook live stream to give tips to our parents. Very good. That's also the same as the Kumustahan of Ma'am Chat, no? Okay, I tried to be part of the TV-based lessons in the SDO City of San Fernando by being an anchor, a scriptwriter, and demonstrator in the Fernandino Kids. And we salute you, dear teachers, no? That's Ma'am Kimberly Ann. Okay, ay meron tayong from DepEd, sabi niya, triage boot and other safety protocols. Okay, so even if we continue learning, we say that it's really, really important that we continue learning. What is also more important is the safety of our learners and our personnel. Okay. Video lessons for synchronous classes. That's also very good. No, you don't just depend on DepEd TV, but you create your own video lessons. Very good. Okay, si Sir Mark Kevin mentioned conducting online walkthrough of the modules every week to help the learners understand the content of the modules and also answering the questions and queries of learners through Messenger. Si Ma'am Jemima, Ma'am Jem, sabi niya meron silang sulong DepEd Angeles podcast. Okay, meron din tayong Dropbox for our modules. So these are our innovations, no? That's going beyond what was required. If this was the standard and you thought of a new way of doing it and you answered the question, what if I will do it? You were brave enough to do it and you were able to innovate. So congratulations, dear supervisors, dear principals, and dear teachers for your innovations. Continue being creative, continue being innovative, no? Maraming salamat po for sharing and we hope others can still share. Pwede po sa inyong mga Facebook pages and then others can see these beautiful innovations, okay, which you can share with others for them also to learn from you. So maraming salamat po for sharing. Okay? All right, so let's just review for today. We have seen, okay, that we are called po, our tayong mga leaders, tayong mga teachers, we are called to become resilient. And we have already discussed resiliency. And beyond resiliency, we hope there's that joy of living by being able to balance all our roles, no? Our personal roles, our professional roles, and our organizational roles. We have to be adaptive and adaptable, to be flexible, to be ready with changes, okay, to accept changes, all right, and to be risk takers, okay, to be proactive, and then be innovative and creative. Okay, and we have discussed that. Now we introduce new ideas, we make our imagination and creative minds work. Okay, for us to be able to improve processes by introducing new products, new services, and new processes. Okay, and I'm sure that we are ready. Okay, that's why we are here. Okay, we are resilient, we are adaptive, we are innovative, and we are creative. I think this is my last activity. I still have 3 minutes. I want you to go again to menti.com and our code is 6821384. I would like you to share your major takeaway on the session, okay, in the Mentimeter, okay. What did you learn for today's session? Even that it's a one word or a phrase that you will bring with you in your organization and even in your family and in your institution. Okay, so we will be able to create a word cloud on your takeaways for this session on our leaders and our teachers being resilient, being adaptive, being creative, and being innovative. Let's see your answers. Yan. Flexible. Okay, thank you for answering. Okay, how to be innovative. All right. Innovation and creation. Resilient. Thank you for sharing. Okay. Right. These are our major takeaways, and I hope that we will not only keep them with ourselves, but we will share them with others. Okay, thank you. Marami ng answers. All right. Adaptive and creative, innovation, resilience. Okay. Innovation is the key. Love for work. I like that. Meaningful. Okay. Flexibility, new innovation. Okay. Dynamic. All right. AQ. All right. That's adversity quotient and adaptability quotient. Okay. Meron pa ba? Thank you. Thank you for answering. Thinking out of the box, to be sturdy, to be strong, and to stand. Okay. To be standing. Thank you. Okay. Be hopeful and resilient. All right. Okay. Helpful. Okay. Elastic. Okay, may word pa na elastic. Thank you. Inspiration. So when we are resilient, we are adaptive, innovative, and creative, we also inspire others. No? Sustainability, risk taker. Congratulations, everyone, and thank you for sharing your major takeaways for our session. No? To be dynamic, to be thinking out of the box. There's creativity and innovation, sustainability, risk taker, positive attitude. Thank you. So congratulations and thank you for all your sharings of your major takeaways. So I think that's my last activity for you. Maraming salamat po. Dakal pong salamat kay Hayungan. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay positive. Hindi po positive sa COVID, pero positive in our outlook in life. Maraming salamat, and God bless you, dear leaders and dear teachers. Always be resilient, always be adaptive or adaptable, always be creative and innovative. Ito po ay palaging para sa bata, para sa bayan, at para sa Diyos. Maraming salamat. And God bless everyone. Thank you.
Thank you po, Ma'am Rowena. I just want to add po no, this one. This is requested by the Dean of the Graduate School, si Dr. Mary Ann Villena. She said in Baliwag Polytechnic College, we are in the tertiary level, so medyo college po ito, no? They have scheduled contribution to all the barangay halls in Baliwag and other places outside Baliwag, and these schedules were announced to all the class GCs, or I think this is group chats, no, by their respective professors po.
Thank
Alright
you.
po, thank you po, Dr. B. Thank you po, Ma'am Kembao. So,
Okay.
some notable statements po no, dun sa talk po ni Ma'am Kembao. So, there's this comparison between the traditional and the new normal education system, no, where in the new normal, the stakeholders and students take more active role. And then we describe a resilient leader who recovers quickly, maintains a positive attitude, and finds ways to move forward, sustain energy, and bounce back from setbacks. We also learned about adaptability through the individual adaptability assessment scoring results. I just hope everyone or all of us will become change agents and should be mentoring others as well. And the skills shared by both creative and innovative people. And we learned from Ma'am Campbell's talk that to adapt to the new normal, DepEd, CHED, and schools developed innovative and creative ways to bring education to the students and, of course, cope with the health standards amidst the COVID-19 pandemic. And that was actually shown by the sharing of our participants both here in Zoom and in Facebook Live. Thank you both for interacting in our session. So we are now in the second half of our sessions, and I am again honored to introduce to you our third speaker. He is the education supervisor in charge of teacher education and graduate education programs, the focal person for research, and the permanent alternate focal person for K-12 concerns at CHED Region 3. He completed 3 undergraduate degrees, AB Political Science, AB English, and BS Public Administration, 2 master's degrees, Political Science and Public Administration, cum laude, with earned units for the MA in English Language Education, PhD in Development Education, and Doctor of Public Administration. To present to us his talk, Reflections on the New Normal in Education, dear participants and guests, please welcome Dr. Efren F. Abulencha. Dr. Abulencha, you're on mute po.
Okay na, sir. Sir Errol.
Okay na po, loud and clear, sir. Thank you
Okay.
po.
Good morning once again to everyone. Thank you very much for this very kind introduction, Sir Errol. And before I proceed, let me also thank the president of St. Anthony College of Technology, Sir Tony Yap, the father and pillar of social responsibility and innovation in the Philippines. As you all know, I come from the Commission on Higher Education, and I am the supervisor in charge of teacher education and graduate education programs. The topic assigned to me is centered on reflections on the new normal in education with emphasis on higher education. But before I begin, allow me to draw some parallelisms as well as relationships between the Commission on Higher Education and the Department of Education. First, the domain of the Department of Education is basic education, which will include pre-elementary, elementary, junior high school, and senior high school, while the domain of the Commission on Higher Education are concentrated on collegiate programs, graduate programs, as well as postgraduate programs. Both, however, are complementary to each other. It is the Commission on Higher Education which supplies its graduates to the Department of Education. Now, since I am connected with higher education, I will talk first on the advocacy of the Commission on Higher Education on both teaching and learning before I present my reflections as well as my realizations on the new normal in education with emphasis on higher education. May I be allowed to share my screen? I prepared a
Yes, sir.
PowerPoint presentation last night. Okay. Okay. Teaching and learning process has dramatically been altered by COVID-19. Hindi nagpapansin. For a while, I am experiencing some technical difficulties. This is
Sir, we can see
a
your slide
problem with
naman po.
technology. Okay.
You just have to
Teaching and
full
learning
screen.
process has been dramatically altered by COVID-19 pandemic. Its impact to education is mind-blowing. According to the Global Monitoring Platform of the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization, or UNESCO, the COVID-19 pandemic has forced hundreds of countries to issue localized and countrywide closure of educational institutions. As part of their quarantine measures, impacting over 1 billion learners, which is equivalent to 90% of the total student population of the world. The emergence of COVID-19 pandemic brought unprecedented disruptions in the lives of people all over the globe from continent to continent, and education is not exempted. The Philippines in particular faced a critical issue due to the rise of said health crisis. For higher education institutions, avoiding and limiting the risk of infection of the academic community has become a primordial consideration. Hence, with the implementation of community quarantine, conduct of classes needed to be immediately suspended. The Herculean challenge, therefore, was how to continue teaching and learning beyond the ordinary face-to-face instruction. On the part of the Commission on Higher Education, it has adopted the flexible learning pedagogical approach, which is embodied under CHED Memorandum Order Number 4, Series of 2020, entitled Guidelines on the Implementation of Flexible Learning. Initially, what is flexible learning? Flexible learning is a pedagogical approach allowing flexibility of time, place, and audience, including but not solely focused on the use of technology. Although it commonly uses the delivery methods of distance education and facilities of education technology, this may vary depending on the levels of technology, availability of devices, internet connectivity, level of literacy, as well as strategies and approaches that were employed. With flexible learning approach, which will guide our higher education institutions in this time of pandemic, let me introduce to you the general guidelines and principles to be followed by higher education institutions in the implementation of flexible learning. This is based on CMO number 4, series of 2020. So these are the general guiding principles. Number 1, flexible learning is concentrated on the learners. It is deeply rooted in the needs of the students. The main objective should be to provide learners with the most flexibility on the learning content, schedules, access, and innovative assessment, making use of both digital and non-digital technology. Next, number 2, higher education institutions shall continue to exercise their judgment in the deployment of available learning design under this flexible learning, as well as other alternative modes of delivery in lieu of in-campus learning or face-to-face modality. The exercise of discretion by the higher education institutions and their faculty must be reasonable, transparent, as well as outcomes-based, validated. Third, higher education institutions shall formulate decisions using data-driven and participatory approaches on determining as well as implementing the most viable form of flexible learning and teaching, which they will utilize based on their capacity, based on existing condition, national government agency guidelines, including the advisories coming from local government units. Next. As a sustainability and monitoring mechanism, higher education institutions should submit for information their learning continuity plan to the CHED regional offices at the beginning of the academic year 2020-2021. It shall reflect both the framework and the system for the transition and integration of flexible learning approaches, as well as the overall absorptive capacity of the higher education institutions to articulate its preparedness and response interventions that reduces disruption of classes and impact of natural calamities, making continuity of learning more resilient. As far as the implementation of the flexible learning component of the LCP, the following may be included: the executive summary, systems and procedures adapted for the transition to flexible learning, including key people, modalities, resources and support services for students as well as faculty, assessment of effectiveness, teaching and learning activities and requirements, expected outcomes, including on-the-job training program, and the practicum, among others. The policies on enrollment, attendance, reporting and updating of student-teacher engagement, grading system, teaching complement, intellectual property rights, open educational resources, plagiarism, among others. It will also include constant dialogue with the local government unit, regional interagency task force, and other relevant stakeholders to be updated, and a possible partner in the presentation during the COVID-19 crisis, considering the different situation of the region, of the different regions in the country. It will also include health and safety protocols in accordance with the IATF, local government unit advisories, including those advisories coming from the Commission on Higher Education. It will also include overview and orientation guide for students, teachers, and other school administrative and support services staff, and mechanisms for continuous quality improvement. Flexible learning should complement outcomes-based education approach. This is number 5. Which allows flexibility for the higher education institutions to employ various means of delivery and assessment for as long as they can show the achievement of the set of learning outcomes for each course or subject for the program. In terms of learning content, higher education institutions shall review all their curricular structures or program of study, considering the prerequisites and prerequisites, determine alternative options in the design, delivery, pedagogy, and assessment mechanism that can be delivered to students through different modalities. Next, number 7. Higher education institutions shall provide mechanisms to inform and orient learners on the learning system to be implemented, which may be in a form of course packages for students, which are accessible through online and offline modes. Course packages may include course syllabi, study guides, available repository of learning resources, schedule of consultations, assessments, monitoring of student engagement, schedule and mechanics of submission of requirements, grading system, among others. The systems and procedures for the transition to flexible learning should be disseminated to all students, officials, teaching and non-teaching personnel. And these are to be documented in their guidebook, in their manuals, as well as in their policy briefers. Next, number 8. Higher education institutions shall establish means for student and teacher engagement for communication, which may include short message service, electronic mail, online chat, instant messaging, and other means whichever is convenient, appropriate, and available in order to ensure personalized, effective, efficient, and timely mentoring and feedback mechanisms. Number 9, higher education institutions shall likewise explore establishing linkages with relevant national and local government agencies, civil society organizations, telecommunication companies, professional organizations, international organizations to strengthen and or complement existing resources, infrastructure, or connectivity to ensure continuous learning of the students. On top of the identified guiding principles, the creation of a consortium between and among higher education institutions is likewise encouraged by the Commission on Higher Education. What is a consortium? A consortium is a reciprocal approach which is mutually beneficial between and among higher education institutions. This consortium will seek to build the culture of shared responsibility that will expand exclusivity, promote quality, and empower capacities in the Philippine higher education system. This will also generate synergies of action between and among higher education institutions, despite being differently situated or located in the different parts of the region. With flexible learning approach, which we guide our higher education institutions in this time of the pandemic, what are then my reflections and what are then my realizations? First, it is certain that COVID-19 is here to stay unless and until a new vaccine will be eventually discovered to put an end to this global menace. Second, with the guiding principles in place in the implementation of flexible learning from among our higher education institutions, it is highly imperative that our school administrators, faculty, and students will have to embrace a new kind of thinking. And let me invite our administrators, our faculty, our students to embrace Peter Singh's principle of metanoia. The word metanoia means a call for a shift of mind, a paradigm shift, or a change of mindset. For the Greeks, it meant a fundamental shift or change, or literally, a transcendence. Therefore, we have to transcend over and above our limitations. By means of flexible learning, which is now the real learning paradigm from among our higher education institutions, we, the teachers in particular, we have to recreate ourselves. And are we capable of recreating ourselves as teachers? The answer, my friends, to this question is in the affirmative. Edward Hall, an anthropologist and an educator, affirmed that human beings are the learning organisms par excellence. Therefore, the drive to learn from among us teachers and even from among our students is very strong. It is as strong as the sexual drive. Why? Why is it as strong as a sexual drive? Because it begins earlier and it lasts longer. For learning organizations in all levels of education, they should continually expand their collective capacity to recreate the future. It is not enough for them for this push to survive. But how will they be able to manage to survive? This flexible learning concept must therefore be coupled with adaptive learning or survival learning on one hand, and generative as well as transformational learning on the other. And for us teachers to continuously enhance our capacity to create as well as recreate. Third, the paradigm shift in teaching and learning in Philippine higher education will imperatively necessitate collaboration between and among all our stakeholders in order to strengthen the culture of sharing knowledge, resources, as well as best practices. And towards this end, my friends, everyone, all of us are called upon to take proactive part in this transition and transformation towards the new normal in higher education. The fourth realization, flexible learning is a pedagogic innovation. It will embrace a combined educational solution using both high technology, online, as well as low technology or offline. It will therefore bring to the fore a hybrid form of learning environment. And with this new learning environment, teachers must be innovative. They must be creative. And innovation, my dear colleagues, is a Greek word which is derived from the term innovare, which means to create something new. Look at the word innovation. The last three letters there are ION. ION, or ion, my friends, means an addition of something new. It is a process of adding something new. Therefore, my friends, innovation is a process of adding or developing something in an existing idea or object to make it something new. The wheel, my friends, has been invented a long time ago. There is no longer a need for us to reinvent the wheel. However, if we are going to realign or reconfigure some parts of the wheel, if we are going to repaint the wheel, it will become a brand new wheel. This will be the continuing challenge for us teachers. We have to learn how to continuously innovate. And if we are to remain stagnant, we will be losing the interest of our learners. The world keeps on evolving. It keeps on changing. And if we stand still, if we cannot adapt, we will be left behind because our students no longer live in a world where we grew up in before. Now, how can we be able to innovate as teachers? We can only innovate if we will manage not only to survive, but if we will be able to manage in order to excel. Our goal is not only to manage to survive, our goal is to manage in order to excel. Other than innovation, therefore, my dear friends, we should also likewise surgically implant into our system the idea and the ideal of excellence. Excellence is a noun. It can be transformed into a verb. The word excel or to excel, both of which are verbs. So the word excellence is to be taught as a verb. Why? Because according to the dictionary, the word excellence means to surpass or to exceed our previous achievement. If we can be able to surpass or exceed what we have achieved in the past, then we are right on track. We are already on the road of becoming excellent. So becoming excellent, my friends, is therefore possible. This fact was confirmed by Aristotle a long time ago when he said, and I quote, excellence is what we repeatedly do. Excellence is not an act, but a habit. Therefore, excellence must be lived as a way of life. It is a continuing work in progress. Fifth, teachers must be patient. They must be lenient. We must propagate as well as foster the idea and the ideal of love. It takes a big heart to help shape minds. If this concept of love is successfully fostered, all kinds of learning will automatically follow. And because of this pandemic, our students are traumatized. We have to understand them. Not only our students are traumatized, including us teachers, we are likewise traumatized because of the life-changing impact of COVID-19. And therefore, we have to be more considerate. We have to be more loving. We have to be more understanding. We have to be more compassionate to our student learners. Tanggapin natin na may pinagdadaanan ang ating mga estudyante. In the same manner, tulad nila, tayong mga teachers, mayroon din tayong pinagdadaanan sa mga panahong ito. 6, COVID-19 has brought education to an inflection point. A pedagogy of social justice and critical consciousness is urgently needed. One that not only eliminates geographic barriers to learning, but also to heal the social, psychological, emotional, spiritual, physical, and academic trauma that we are experiencing, including our students. Unfortunately, as well as admittedly, most teachers, including myself, do not have the requisite training on how to process grief and trauma associated with feelings of shock, sadness, guilt, denial, depression, loss because of death, among others. My dear friends in education, the last realization that I have in mind is this. We have to be resilient. Like the bamboo, we have to be pliant and malleable. While it is true that we have to bow to the powerful forces of nature, let us develop the ability to be able to bounce back. That is important because if we cannot bounce back, then we will be losing everything. We have to believe with what we think about because our thinking is very powerful. We have to focus on what is positive so that it will expand. What we believe, we shall become. We have to be responsive and proactive, not reactive. We have to be positive and we have to be relevant by not being reactive. My dear friends in education, only and only then, when we learn to recognize these insights and realizations, which I have shared a while ago, we will be able to truly heal ourselves and learn as one. My dear friends, before I close, allow me to share the powerful statement which was declared by Mahatma Gandhi. He shared that in a gentle way, let us shape the world. Taking this cue from the statement of Mahatma Gandhi, which is pregnant with meanings, let me invite all our teachers and all our school administrators to become the agents and the catalysts of change. Let us be shakers and movers of the world by being one. So with this, my friends, let me say once again, thank you for this kind invitation, for allowing me to share my thoughts in this academic gathering. Mabuhay ang St. Anthony College of Technology. Mabuhay tayong lahat. Thank you for your listening indulgence.
Thank you very much, Dr. Abolencia. So from your speech po, we learned regarding the current scenario po, no? You presented to us the current scenario of the teaching learning process and how it was or it is currently being affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. You also complemented what Dr. Crisostomo's concept of paradigm shift, no, and that we must take a proactive part in the current situation. We have to learn to continuously innovate and adapt and be resilient. And this one actually is inconsistent naman po, no, with Ma'am Kiambau's talk on the qualities of leaders and teachers. And that we have to focus on what is positive and what we believe we shall become. And we have to be proactive and relevant by not being reactive. And finally, you challenge us to change the world, be shakers and movers of the world. Thank you very much po, Dr. Abolencia. And at this juncture, I would like to introduce to you our fourth speaker for today. He will present his topic, Bracing the New Norms in the New but Normal Environment. He studied and completed Doctor of Education at the Philippine Normal University. He is currently the Assistant Schools Division Superintendent of the DepEd City Division of Malolos. Ladies and gentlemen, our last but not the least speaker for the day, Dr. Leonardo C. Canlas.
Good morning. Sige, asan na? Hindi ako nakikita.
Good morning po, Dr. Canlas. We can hear you po.
All right. Can you see my slide now, Errol?
Yes po, Doc.
Is my slide okay?
Apo. If you can
Okay.
full
All right.
screen po the slide.
Full screen. Okay, Errol.
Alright po. Okay na po, Doc. Thank you po.
All right, good morning. My respect to our President, Sir Tony Yap, and my respect to our Mother Benita Yap in heaven. I always cherish the best memories with our Mother Benita Yap. The Vice President for Academic Affairs, Madam Violeta Sibal, Dr. Marian Villena, the Dean of the Graduate School, and of course my colleague, my friend, my co-researcher and mentor, Dr. Wildred Crisostomo. My respect as well to my partner, ASDS Weng Kembao of the Division of Bulacan, the professors of the graduate school, and of course, the always on the go, always, not in control, but connected with the faculty, with the administration, and of course, with our learners, with our graduate school teachers. Dr. Nairo S. Olalia. This is indeed, and to our participants, of course. Dr. Efren, good morning also. This is indeed a great webinar. Relevant indeed because you have captured the theme of this webinar that is truly anchored with the realities in the Department of Education, the new normal in education. Let me start with my presentation with the objectives of my webinar. First, to develop a working knowledge based on the views of the teachers regarding the new normal. I decided to come up with a descriptive research to take the views of the teachers in the new normal. And I will also capture the emerging challenges of teachers in the new normal. And of course, the main concern of my presentation today, what are the essential supports that could be extended to our teachers to continue their identities as effective teachers in the new normal. And of course, to continue education as envisioned by our secretary. I'd like to start my presentation also with the views, the initial reactions of people about about the COVID-19. Our initial and normal reaction, of course, we okay. We believe that since it is a pandemic, it can cause death, it's a pestilence, all about horrifying and negative beliefs about the COVID-19 pandemic. I'd like to present as well the direction of the Secretary amid the pandemic. The Secretary pushed on whatever happens, education must continue. That was a national challenge. That was a firm challenge of the Secretary of Education. That whatever will happen, although they will change the Republic Act pertaining to the opening of classes, education must continue. Surrounded by political pressure, surrounded by demands and tensions from the public, parents, learners, teachers as well. The Secretary was very firm in directing the basic education in the entire country that whatever happens, education must continue. For a few minutes, let us take a moment of reflection. We have survived the pandemic. From the first issuance of the quarantine, sometimes in March, we were all under ECQ, and everything, our movement, our work, it was all so limited, restricted, and everything, every move that we do outside our own homes, we are being checked, and that is certainly, or that was certainly frightening. But now, how do you describe yourself, although you are still amid the pandemic? Okay? That was just a simple reflection that I invite everyone to do. These are just simple pictures of teachers on how they are doing their work amid the pandemic. In my research, these are some of the views of the teachers about the new normal. Because after, during the pandemic, as I said, and even after that height, the very height of the pandemic, there were new terminologies that emerged in education. Work from home is one. Distance learning is one. Blended learning is one. Okay, we have also new platforms. Okay, etc., etc. And all those things encapsulate the new normal. And what is the new normal as viewed by the teachers? The capitalized themes are those that were given by the teachers after processing their responses. They view normal in terms of hostility to opportunities, because for them, they were able to respond to situation But after responding to situation, they were able to experience favorable outcome or outcomes. Okay. They were aware that they might be affected. They were aware that there might be there might be, their papers might be contaminated, but still after responding to that hostile situation or situations, they were able to come up with favorable outcomes or opportunities. And opportunities may be in terms of how they would be more effective, better, and best teachers in the new normal. There was also a theme on adaptability and flexibility. And for them, adaptability and flexibility of the individual to the new normal environment to increase survival. Teachers realize now the importance of adaptability. Adaptability for them is letting go of old practices and embracing the new norms. Okay. Adaptability is embracing new practices in managing the teaching learning process. I cannot imagine, before I cannot imagine seeing a school without any learner, being a classroom without any learner, but teaching learning process still continue. I miss the school, the learning noise of our children. But as I said, that is not anymore possible in the new normal. But the teachers are aware that they must adapt and be flexible for them to survive. So there is already that big push. There is already that motivation in them that they should survive amid these emerging challenges, eventually forming norms in the new normal. Also, they believe on resiliency from adversity. Okay, it's a question. This is not only pertaining to pure adversity quotient. How is your score in a simple survey of adversity quotient? But this is coupled with what? With resiliency. That they were able to draw from their strength, according to the interview. They were able to draw from their spiritual strength and from their professional worth as teachers, so that they become more resilient. We see teachers now distributing modules in school with their masks, with their face shield, and other personal protective suits and other things they use, because that's automatic to them. But amidst, as I said, these adversities, they continue doing. Amidst this adversity, their professional worth is proven. Why? Because they were able to understand the very essence of resiliency. Resiliency not as a concept, but resiliency as experienced by teachers, as they are expected to perform to continue education as it was articulated by our secretary. But amid the new normal challenges, as I said, in education, no one can take them and make education possible, my friends. It's only you who can make education possible, my dear teachers. I am not discounting the effort of our district supervisors, our school heads, because they have done their significant share from planning in the LCP, in the Learning Continuity Plan, to gaining support to make that possible. But this time, I'm giving premium to the effort of teachers, the resilient teachers, the flexible teachers, the teachers who survive the hostile environment, and yet they were able to see opportunities over adversities. These are now the teachers we have in the Department of Education who are ready to embrace the challenges of the new normal. Let me reaffirm that, my dear teachers, that no one can do it except you, my dear teachers. Well, we cannot discount the challenge of health and wellness. We are addressing this matter because we make sure as you deliver, the protocols are well observed. Safety measures are well adhered, and the mental health of our teachers are well taken care of. As we believe on the resiliency and competence of teachers surviving over adversities, we make sure that the health and wellness of our teachers are well prioritized, are well addressed by school heads. Okay? So there is now the challenge of making sure that health and wellness among our teachers is properly given attention by our school heads. We cannot afford now to approve a Form 6 because of the sick leave of a teacher or a group of teachers who will handle the 25 teachers who are remotely undertaking their learning activities. So we have to take care of their health and wellness. There is also the challenge of efficiency and effectiveness, school heads, among our teachers. That has to be ingrained because things now are done remotely. There are no learners in the classroom. You don't see learners playing in the school campus. Learning is taking place at home with parents, at home with their elders, brothers and sisters, and neighbors who can help them, and other stakeholders who can be with them. And teachers are remotely conducting and monitoring the learning process, likewise with the school heads and district supervisors. So there is a great challenge of how we can maintain and sustain the desired efficiency and effectiveness as to the performance or the quality delivery of the teaching learning process as measured by the performance of our learners. DepEd Order 31, Series 2020 was very clear in its articulation that there should be assessments in order to measure effectiveness of curriculum delivery in terms of written works and performance assessments. And so the great challenge now is how we connect those in terms of efficiency and effectiveness of our schools. There is also the challenge of human resource capability. Our teachers. I told you a while ago we were trained by teacher education institutions to conduct classes inside the classroom, to manage behavior, to address diversity of learning, to make sure that the entire learning environment is conducive and supportive to the various learning undertakings of our children or learners. But we were trained conventionally to do that in the physical classroom or classrooms. But now, learning has to take place, as I said, remotely. And how do we address that challenge? How do we make our teachers more prepared to deliver the curriculum online, virtual, blended modules and online, synchronously and asynchronously? These are the challenges. And how will the educational leaders will respond into the great challenge of upskilling our 55-year-old teachers, our 62-year-old teachers? How do we upskill them? What can be done so that our teachers will sustain their professional identity as effective teachers? So there is a challenge of retooling teachers, but as we retool them, there is also the great challenge of strengthening their work values. Remember, my friends, you are not physically watched. You are not physically monitored. You only support your performances by sending MOVs through virtual platforms. But the actual conduct of the teaching learning process is not monitored physically by your educational leaders, including your district supervisors. So there is a challenge of strengthening our work values as teachers. Okay? There is also the challenge of public acceptance and support. Before, parents were thinking of not sending their children for one school year. Even our lawmakers, our political leaders contemplated the same. But the challenge now of particularly on synergizing the effort and support of stakeholders is necessary to address the challenges in the new normal. It's good that LGUs, parents, and other actors are now education actors. There are also multi-actors in education now. We can just accept it now that education is not the sole turf of the school, of the teachers and the school leaders and supervisors. It's also the turf now of parents, of local government leaders and other stakeholders, because they are now actors. They are now education actors. We expect great participation for them, not only in terms of meeting them, the usual calling for parents for a conference. No, that's not anymore applicable in the new normal. The sense now in calling, connecting with parents is to find out, to get feedback from them. What kind of feedback? The feedback of performances of their children. The feedback on how they can help or they can collaborate to help their children. But again, remotely. Okay? There is the challenge of committing self. There's a challenge of committing self. This is a big challenge. Yeah? That, as I said, you are not physically monitored. But we believe that our teachers, even they are not physically monitored and observed, mandates and expectations are completely and effectively discharged by our teachers. Our teachers are not anymore imposing their old norms. Our teachers, based on my research, are not anymore pessimistic. They are now with the Department of Education in terms of the direction, the macro direction to make education, to continue education. So commitment is within the person, and I believe our teachers, as they grew and emerged after that dreadful adversities initially, now a renewed and refortified professional identities of teachers emerge. And certainly committing self, as it is considered as a challenge, may be properly addressed with the renewed image of our teachers. And so, I'd like to share also our research. Thank you, Dr. Crisostomo. We conducted a qualitative research also. And these are now the beliefs of the teachers in their profession in an adversity-triggered situation. There is resiliency of personal and professional self. Now, teachers can define their personal being and professional self in terms of experience resiliency. And if resiliency is defined in terms of experiences, resiliency now becomes a context. Yeah? Resiliency now becomes a context in the working environment of the teachers. Resiliency now is different from the resiliency in the upland, in the coastal, and in the low-lying schools. But what is important now is teachers were able to define their personal work, their personal self and professional self in relation to resiliency. One thing good as well is there is the development of creativity, the drawing of creativity and innovativeness in the teaching space, in the new teaching space. I would say the creativity was there already, but there was no situation that will trigger the need for you to be creative and to be innovative. Before, we were just so relaxed and complacent with our daily routinary teaching. But with the new normal challenges, that will not do, and that was very clear in our research. And teachers understood how it is to be creative. How is it to be innovative? Modules designed by teachers will attest their creativity and innovativeness. Before leaving Pampanga, I have personally reviewed outputs of our teachers. I have viewed several presentations, the presentations of lessons through televisions, the TV Eskwela, and I have seen how the teachers were preparing and presenting their lessons. Very commendable. Very commendable. Also, there was connectedness to colleague to refortify their professional dialogue. There is now the identity of, or the practice on professional dialogue, which was never done before. Dialogue before were just confined on on group chats, kung saan tayo maglo-loan, kung saan ang bago dito, etc., etc. But now, there is now the professional dialogue, meaning they connect with their colleagues, maybe to ask for technical assistance, maybe to share what they have produced, maybe to give advices with their colleagues so that they'll be able to overcome their predicament in relation to preparations of their learning materials. And finally, there was performance commitment beyond compliance. Okay? That is very important, my dear teachers. As you perform, you are never contented with compliance, but you commit yourself to better performance. And that was very well articulated by our teachers. Further, these were the challenges identified by our teachers, which should be addressed now to brace them. How do we brace them? Later on, I'll discuss that. The challenge of visualizing instructional materials, that's a great challenge to them still, because we still have more weeks to go to complete the school year. Managing multimodal instruction to address adversity. Okay. Monitoring progress of the learners. So in DepEd Order 31, so that would require the specific actions from school heads to support teachers, and managing effective assessment and feedback, and coordinating with parents via conference. Even parents now are trying to adapt themselves with the new normal, because there were some group chat among themselves so that the teacher would just connect with parents in one group chat. Parents now are also communicating with us through emails. So different modalities are now being used by teachers, but still that is a challenge for the teachers in order to connect with the teacher, with the parents on time, and of course a complete connection with parents to address learning related issues and problems encountered by children or their children at home. Dr. Choi also identified some of the teacher roles under the pandemic. And there are new roles identified by Dr. Choi. ICT integration. This is now a global view on the roles of teachers. My presentation a while back, the define identities and challenges by teachers based on the result of our research. But this time, this is a global view of the teacher roles amid the pandemic. And ICT integration appeared to be a global role that has to be addressed appropriately. The collaboration with third parties as well. Okay, so we have how do we collaborate with stakeholders, especially with parents now who are with you in education, co-educating their children. Before we have said that before, that parents should be co-educators. That educating their children is not the sole responsibility of the school, but now it's different. They are really co-educators because they have to open modules with their children, and work with their children with their academic tasks. So that's one challenge. That's a new role that they are facing now. And responsive to social tensions caused by the disruption. How the teachers now, not only responding among themselves, but how they would be responding together now with parents, together now with the children under their tutelage. Okay? And then there are also possible issues. There are also potential issues that can be encountered by our teachers. And there is the issue of few teachers have the capacity to teach remotely, and the use of appropriate equipment, etc., etc. Okay? And there is also a challenge of creative perseverance among teachers. Okay? There is also a challenge of no experience to coordinate education with the third parties. Because before we plan our own lessons, we make our own DLL, but now we make our weekly teaching learning plan. But as we make it, we cannot, somebody has to execute it. Somebody has to execute it with us. Unlike before, you manage it solely, but now you have parents at home, you have other people at home who will execute the lesson with you. So how would you be able to address that kind of tension? Okay. With all those challenges, issues, how do we brace firmly our teachers? How do we provide that firm brace so that our teachers will sustain their effective identity as classroom teachers in the new normal? Dr. Choi also identified the interrelationship between teacher development through training and teacher identity development. Dr. Choi gave emphasis on the importance of augmenting, heightening the competence of our teachers, but not losing their identity as teachers. Okay? We may push them, we may tell them to work on ICT-based teaching, online teaching. They're doing it because they are still teachers who are expected to perform online teaching, synchronous teaching through online modality. That should be understood to the teachers. Okay? We are persuading them to work on modules because they have to deliver the lesson through a self-learning material as a teacher. So the identity must be preserved as we let our teachers be engaged on teacher development as the expected support to brace firmly our teachers. So for school heads and district supervisors and other educational leaders, as we engage our teachers in various forms of teacher development, we have to ensure that their identity as teachers will remain or will sustain. That they will still firmly believe that what they're doing is still within their functions as teachers, is still within their identities as teachers, because they might realize that, bakit namin ginagawa ito? Don't let our teachers ask that question. Okay? So, the teacher development that we provide to our teachers must preserve that identity of our teachers. These are the some elements, according to Dr. Choi, to consider to address the teaching learning issues. TL means issues. First, it should be school-based training. We give premium on school-based training now. Well, your LDMs provided you and capacitated you, but that will not suffice. There are other teaching learning related issues that may surface, and that could be immediately addressed through school-based training. And I believe our school heads must revisit DepEd Order 35 series of 2016, which is the conduct of learning action cells or the school learning action cells. Let us not confine the conduct of LACT on the domains there, because the domains there may not be responsive anymore, my friends. So the challenge now to brace our teachers is to revisit our design school-based training, because they may not be responsive anymore in the context of the new normal. There is also the encouragement to collaborate among teachers. So this is the professional learning community. We have to build strongly the PL, the professional learning communities, the academic dialogue, as I call it, so that teachers can exchange at their level. They can exchange their practices, best practices, and they can also provide technical assistance among their peers. Okay? There is also the emphasis on reflective learning. Okay? Make sure that there is a time for our teachers during your conferences, virtual, your teleconferences, that you give your teachers some moments of reflection. Okay? How are they performing? How are they learning as well with the new platform that they are adopting as teachers, so that you can come up with the best realizations, and from there you may know what to do, what to input, and what to provide. There is also where there may also be peer evaluation, peer observation in relation to collaboration among teachers probably, and there is that using on DepEd Order 31. Later on, you will find out the results, and the learning should sustain over time. Meaning, the teaching learning of teachers must be sustained. It should not only stop in giving one or two, but as they encounter several issues, as they are experiencing other challenges, coming to it immediately. Okay? At the macro level, at the global level, these are the different teachers' capability that are provided to teachers to firmly brace the teachers in the new normal. In South Korea, to mention some, in China, in New Zealand, and in UK, they provide teacher development support through online systems to help teachers collaborate and share ideas, lessons, techniques, and tools for distance learning. I think that's one support. Encourage online system, teleconferences, so that they can have their academic dialogue and share ideas in their lessons, techniques, and tools. That's according to Wong. Okay? The Ministry of Education in South Korea created a peer support program to help teachers transition to distance learning. Okay? So, volunteer teachers work with the ministry officials to create online classes around the country. They share daily lesson plans, activities, learning games, etc., etc. Okay? It will also be useful, both in times of normality and crisis, to train them, the teachers, to tailor follow-up session with caregivers as well, and gather input from families regarding students' learning conditions and social and emotional development. So this is now considering other needs of our children, aside from their focusing on their teaching and learning activities. In New Orleans, they have created a task force comprised of city and school leaders teachers and social workers, parents and others' education, and health experts to inform reopening decisions. So this time, the multi-actors in education, as I have mentioned a while ago. So there is now, they connect with other stakeholders so that whatever decisions that are made, reopening decisions in particular, it is well disseminated in the entire community. So there is the synchronization of understanding and interpretation on policies and decisions that are made by the school. In Hong Kong, organizations such as the Edu Hong Kong and NGOs created space for parents where they can share their ideas and concerns. So that is on the aspect of considering now that parents, as I said, are education actors with teachers, with the school in general. So these are the different global initiatives which are undertaken in order to brace our teachers in the new normal. May I ask now for some, maybe for a few minutes, our moderator, from our participants to share your preferred support to sustain your professional identity as effective classroom teacher? Maybe for 2 minutes, Mr. Moderator.
Okay po, kindly share in the
Hello.
chat box po.
Yes.
And I'll also be checking the ones in Facebook Live. Okay po.
Yes.
Okay, dear participants, kindly share in the chat or comment box your preferred support to sustain your professional identity as effective classroom teachers. Okay, we're still waiting for responses po.
Okay.
Okay po, Doc Canlas, from Ma'am Remedios de la Cruz.
Yes.
Preparation of support materials for assessment aside from the modules LAS provided to you.
Okay. So that's on the aspect of assessment of learning.
Okay po, and then from Ma'am Carolina Batu Dimla, working together positively can help our learners achieve their full potential.
So that is the organizational health. So that has to be given attention.
How about our participants in Zoom? Do you have any sharing po? Okay, here's one from Sir Rolando Sakatani. I should attend more seminars and trainings for professional development, while Ma'am Michelle Grande said, continue to attend webinars like this. Wow.
Okay. But
And
when you
going
attend
back-
webinars, make
Apo.
sure that yes, make sure that your learning needs are properly responded.
I agree po. And then going back to Facebook Live, Mr. Ronel David said, we created group chat to our students and parents po to have daily communication with them po. FB page also po for our digital modular.
That's a
And
great
then, Ma'am-
innovation. Okay.
Yes, sir. And then Ma'am Maribik said, materials in the implementation of different activities. And then from Ma'am Amor, reach out to the learners. Ma'am Wilmarie said, guiding and monitoring the children through any platform like Messenger, text, and call. Another response from Ma'am Remedios de la Cruz, attend to the queries of parents regarding the lessons provided in the module or LAS. Another response, here's from
Okay. Yes.
from Christine Bais. I conduct enrichment activity for my pupils.
That's nice. Now, these are now, as I said, the teachers in the new normal. They're getting into other different, innovative, but relevant modalities, practices to ensure that their main identity as effective classroom teacher is sustained. And more than what they have been doing, we have the group chat now. We have the different activities performed with their school heads. I believe these are the things now that are required, expected in the new normal. And on the aspect, on the side of our school heads, as I said, in providing the needed praise to support firmly our teachers, you refer to that model of school-based training so that you'll be able to immediately respond to the emergent needs of our teachers. And finally, let me continue. Sometimes in 2020, my friends, there was this headline in the New York Times: 50 million kids can't attend school. What happens to them? But in the statement of the Department of Education in July, there were 21,344,915 enrollees in basic education. And for public school alone, that is all, we have already 20,147,020 learners, which is 88% as compared with the enrollment of last year. Education in the new normal, my friends. To conclude my presentation, continued. A challenge of the Secretary, now a reality. It happened, and it will be sustained because teachers in the new normal made it happen. To our great heroes in the new normal, thank you so much. And to the graduate school organizers of this webinar, and to our dear President, thank you for this great opportunity to be one of the speakers in this very relevant webinar for our teachers. Thank you, and thank you so much.
Thank you po, Dr. Canlas. All right, I just would like to mention po, we cannot read all of the responses, but we truly appreciate your interaction and your participation in our webinar. Well, so it looks like we covered so much for today, but before we end, I would just like to give a synthesis of what Dr. Canlas mentioned. So it is truly striking when we've learned how the new normal is viewed by teachers, and this actually makes us realize that this is really happening and that we are now in the new normal. Also notable is the focus on addressing the challenges being encountered by teachers in relation with the school heads, the organization, their capability and values, the stakeholders and local governments, as well as their committing self. He presented the global view on the roles of teachers under this pandemic and the potential issues teachers encounter, and of course, the elements to counter these issues. And lastly, Dr. Canlas challenged us to continue, as in continue and sustain, because we, the teachers, made it happen. So it looks like we covered so much for today, and that all of us are ready to blow up the box, I mean. We would like to thank our dignified resource speakers for sharing their knowledge and expertise to all of us. So at this point, allow me to introduce to you the Dean of the Graduate School of St. Anthony College of Technology to officially close this virtual event. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. Mary Ann Villena. Dean Villena, you are on mute po.
Okay. Sir Harold, can you hear me now?
Yes, ma'am. Loud and clear
Okay.
na po.
Thank you very much po. Kasi kanina hindi ko ma-unmute without
Okay
your
lang po.
permission. Okay, I'm now ready for my concluding remarks. It is my pleasure to join all of you for the closing of today's webinar with the theme, Blowing the Box, the New Teacher in the New Normal. Allow me to pay my deepest respect and gratitude to the SACT administrators headed by the President himself, Mr. Tony Yap, and his amiable, kind-hearted, and highly considerate wife, Dr. Bambi Yap, their son, Attorney Anton Yap, and the VPAR of our school, the cool and maidenly Mrs. Violeta Sibal. Likewise, my heartfelt thanks to the SACT professors, most especially to Dr. Nairo Olalia for his untiring help extended to SACT family as ever. The preparations and great effort accorded together with the SACT staff, Ms. Mel, Mr. Harold, Ms. Menchi, to name a few. To all the SACT graduate school Antonians who are very eager and looking forward for this momentous occasion, evidently revealed through the conversations via the respective class GCs. It is noteworthy to say that all of us, you and I, are extremely benefited or do extremely benefited from all the inputs or insights, a glimpse of the new normal, a maxim of what is like to be a teacher in the new normal that our four top caliber speakers shared to us from the start till the end. To wit, Dr. Mildred Crisostomo, Madam Rowena Kiambao, Dr. Efren Abolencia, and of course, Dr. Leonardo Canlas. To all our invited speakers, the SACT family is indeed without any trace of sugar coating, is very much fortunate and delighted as everything shared from the start to the end sparked curiosity and enlightenment among us. As I end or close my remarks and officially announce the termination of today's event, thank you for being here today as we listen attentively to our loving guest of speakers. I wish you all a blessed and safe day as not everybody have this opportunity. Thank you po.
That's great po. Thank you very much po, Dr. Villena, and thank you everyone. We appreciate you being here with us. Before we close, a reminder po for all participants to accomplish the end program evaluation. The link po is in the chat pane. So in behalf of the faculty, staff, and administration of St. Anthony College of Technology, we would like to thank all those who contributed to the success of this online event. Thanks again for joining us today, and we will see you next time. Thank you very much po, and a good day.
Thank you, Sir Harold.
Thank you po.
Bye.
Bye po. Thank you everyone.